Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? I ain't gon' let it get to me. I'm just gon' creep down in Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my little speed. I know that it's here. I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkins in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back him up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying, you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep down Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear. It probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery. Just gon' creep down in Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here. I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere.
One. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Load this down. Actually, this is pretty funky. I might leave these on. Oh, okay, that's all the way off. That's not what I wanted. Maybe really quiet. There we go. There we go. Yeah, maybe we'll keep that going for a bit. How's it going, everyone? Sorry it took me a little longer. Well, actually, I might be starting earlier than usual. I don't know. I was trying to start for 6, and then, like, technical problems came along. So, I feel like everything is ready now, but yeah, I had a little extra prep to do, because it's Halloween. So I thought I'd go the extra mile. Oh dear. So if everyone can hear me, I'll set everything up real quick, real soon. Real soon? There we go. Okay, so let's. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm wearing my regular clothes. This is what I always wear in Stroop. Nope. There we go. Let me get rid of the thingamajig. Right. Yeah, this is what I wear every stream. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm a succubus today. It is Halloween after all. And I was feeling in the spirits. So, we got little wings too. I don't know if you're seeing. From this angle, it's not always the best to see. Maybe I need to, like, lower the camera and pull back a bit. Get a bit more of the ambiance. Okay. How we doing? Is the sound alright? Let me move that. Let me get the we got a little orb there. See, I can change the color of the orb too. A little clap. Actually, it should probably be green. It sets the tone better. If you didn't notice, it's spooky, very spooky. All right, so how are we doing tonight? Let's see what we got here. So came from. All right, well, I guess the thumbnail is working. Yeah, I just took a shot that a second ago. I thought I might as well get the. I want people, who click on the video to know what they're getting themselves into. I'm sure. All right, is that a Noi cosplay? Noi? Who's Noi? Oh, is that no? I don't know who that is, so it can't be. No, I wouldn't say it's Morrigan, but like I'd be channeling, the only succubus I spend my time knowing is Morrigan, so that would be close, even though like we're not very close to Morrigan. All right, so yeah, the music is from I think it's called the 1 hour Sonic Halloween music. Usually we use chill Sonic music before we come in, but today I thought Halloween music would be more fitting. Thank you, Pedro. All right, so how are we going today? I'm dead. All right, fits you nicely. Well, yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's a pain in the ass to get on. Don't know how people do this all the time. It's a kind of magic. Thanks, Ava. Yeah. Can we see the rings? Let me double check. Where are they? Okay, so the lighting here. Maybe I need to move some stuff. Yeah, this is all good. We've got little horns. What do we have? I don't know if I can show them. We have little horns coming out. It's very cute. Very cute. Anyway, sorry. Where were we? Let me think. What? So yeah, if it's Halloween, we might as well talk about Halloween stuff. I don't really have any specific topics, but I've been... Back in the day, I was really into a series called Monster Madness. I think they're still doing it to this day, like James Rolfe. I used to watch a fair bit of horror from time to time. My friend's really into it, so like we did a fair bit. I like the aesthetic of it all. Big fan of things like The Thing. I've got like a lot of old, what would you call them? Hammer? No, it's not Hammer, it's the one, but old Universal horror films, which are pretty fun. I'm trying to think about like what my favourite horror films are. Like, I remember seeing Wreck, and I don't know if I would say it's my favourite, but I think Wreck was one where I got pretty spooked at the end there. That's pretty spooky. The original, I don't know if there's the remake's called Wreck, the Spanish one. I remember seeing Martyrs. I don't know if does that count as horror? I guess maybe. I remember just coming out and being like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck happened to that? Jesus Christ. That was interesting. Oh, Audition. Oh, Audition is so good. None of those are anime, sadly. I'm trying to think of horrors anime. Again, sorry guys, I don't know what Annoy is. This is a succubus. What a thumbnail. Thank you very much. OnlyFans when? You know, I don't know if I could make a lot. You know, the funny thing is I'd probably end up making more money on OnlyFans than I would on fucking YouTube, knowing how it goes. But that's optimistic. I don't know. If you're a dude on OnlyFans, I don't think you've got like the priority of making as much money. The only reason I wouldn't do something like that is I'm just too lazy. Like, that's just like a lot to deal with. If someone else was doing it for... If I had a partner in crime who could set stuff up, I wouldn't even be like opposed to it. Because, you know, you got to make that bank in this world. I don't really see the difference between being an OnlyFans person and someone who makes YouTube videos. It's basically the same thing. Yeah, Alien, I don't know. I guess the question with Alien and The Thing is they certainly have horror elements. Are they more horror than sci-fi, or are they more sci-fi than horror? Or are they both? That's always the question. I sometimes put, like, The Thing... I could see The Thing being put in more of a horror category because it's by John Carpenter. And John Carpenter was known pretty early on, as pretty well known for his horror stuff. It's a BDM. No, it's just a wholesome succubus costume. Nothing against that. Don't sell my soul to OnlyFans. I'm not selling my soul to anything. I guess YouTube already has it. You're amused, Gabe. What do you mean by more? Come on, get out of here. Sorry, where were we at? Like, yeah. The remake was called Quarantine. Okay. Top is I wouldn't say it's a top or bra, it's a succubus outfit. It's Halloween. Come on boys, get with the system here. It's Halloween, you gotta be wearing a costume if you're in chat. Don't be embarrassing yourself. Thank you, Daniel. 10 out of 10 costume. Yeah, thank you very much. So the remake was called Quarantine. I never saw the remake. I saw the original Rec. But yeah, like I guess the question is still like if it is horror, which is it? Is it horror? We need more. Horror movie recommendations. Yeah, I was just saying, Kami-san. So I was talking about a couple ones I really like The Thing, and I was wondering if The Thing even counts. Oh, I think the cat's at the door. You here? No? Okay. Yeah, so is The Thing and Alien, are they more horror or are they more sci-fi? I mean, I think they could be considered both. I did think that Thing might be more horror orientated because of its ties to John Carpenter, where like Ridley Scott is not really that kind of guy. I mean, if the Raw 34 artists can do whatever they want, I don't give a shit. Yeah, but like, I mean, if I'm just gonna go through John Carpenter's work, like, which ones do I really like? The Thing, definitely. I know a lot of people really are into like the first Halloween. I think it's fine. I wouldn't say it's like one that really hit me. I'm pretty sure if it's talking in terms of those sort of slasher films, I was really into Psycho. I think Psycho really works as like a small, sharp little film that all comes together, and I think it can be kind of unnerving in its own right for like a small piece like that. Halloween, kind of. Oh, who we need? We need some Dario Argento. So we're talking about Suspiria, and especially Deep Red. I think it's Deep Red. Those two I really like. They have definitely a different kind of vibe coming from the Italian scene. And then, let's think about this. The other John Carpenters. So, yeah, Halloween's pretty big for people like that. The ending of Halloween's really strong. I was probably more into the original Friday the 13th, though, because I feel like the last chase sequence is actually really, like, good. I think the first chunk of the film is kind of paint by the numbers, but the last chase part, like the last third of the film, is really striking. I think that part's definitely the most fun. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I couldn't go into it without talking about that. And that's how this goes. Okay, the cat. I don't know if the cat was coming or not, but well, who cares? Do I go trick or treating? No, I haven't went in a long time, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind taking my nephew to trick or treating because he's at the age where he would like probably do that sort of thing. Though I don't know if they'd be going out this late. It's not that late actually here. It looks a lot later because it's darker, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like they do like a family. I know they probably do like the kids version, which is probably on a different day. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe next year, if he wants to go, I'll think about taking him out. Depends what day it's on. I wouldn't mind dressing up. Probably wouldn't dress up like this. Not because I have a problem dressing up like this. It's more that it's just too cold outside. I mean, it's the middle of autumn in England. It's fucking cold out there, Catch a chill. I'll probably have to put someone a bit more weighty. I like the Vampire Hunter D movies. I mean, I've talked about them prior. Like, we did the video on them with my friend, Screaming Fox. He's a big horror head, so, like, he was the appropriate person to choose for talking about that sort of stuff. And, yeah, I don't know, like, they're, like, horror-themed, I guess. Like, they got that sort of... I mean, you could say the same thing, I suppose, for, like, the old Dracula stuff, right? Oh, you know what I watched recently? You know what I watched recently, everyone? Nosferatu 1969. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. 1979 by Werner Herzog. That was actually pretty good. I think I might have fell asleep a couple of times. I mean, I was tired. But like, it's got a good atmosphere to it. Definitely an interesting take on the material. I think the soundtrack was really good. And there's definitely some really good shots in it, especially of like the dark. There's some really good low light like filming in there. Especially with Nosferatu, like there's one where it's like in a hallway, and you can see the light at the end of the hallway, and then there's like an opaque, like dark figure coming towards it, which is Nosferatu, but you can't quite make him out until he's way too close to the camera, and you're kind of like, whoa, like, because it's just so dark that it's really hard to tell what's going on, until he's just too close to not see. And that's definitely a feeling of like, something approaching in the dark, like that sort of feeling. I think that's really good encapsulated, and then it hard cuts right into the part where he's just in the room, and there's something kind of fascinating about it to see a figure that's like so like Nosferatu just standing still in the dark, and you see someone look at it, and you like their eyes are adjusting to be like, is that something in front of me? But they don't quite know, and then in that situation they're thinking like, is there a figure in front of me? And then there's this point where Jonathan, I think it is, he realizes there's a figure in front of him. that there's like this 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 night creature in front of him who's supposed to be his guest, and he like jumps. He has like a look like that, and that's when he like grabs him. And I think that's really, I don't know, it's like I guess I would say it's almost unorthodox to see it play out in full that way, because usually it's cut between, you kind of see from one perspective instead of this more like far away, like looking glass attempt of it. But I think that's what's quite fascinating about Werner Herzog's attempt of it, even with the ending, where the ending is definitely quite bleak in its own right. I haven't seen Trick or Treat, but that's like an anthology, right? I have seen Jeepers Creepers, both of them, not a fan. I believe the director of Jeepers Creepers was caught for being a sex offender, if I remember right, or worse. That's why they never made a third one. I don't know, Sunstrikers. You gotta be chat about it. When someone asks you what you watched, you go, "Yes, I did watch that." I mean, I don't know. Miyazaki's a man of many secrets and facets. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a succubus outfit, but I don't know. I wouldn't put it past. I've never actually seen the original Nosferatu because I miss going to see it in them. They have like a classic silent film kind of festival around these parts, and there was an attempt to see it at one point, and I never did. But I thought, like, if I was going to see Nosferatu, then the pandemic happened, obviously, but I was thinking, like, yeah, Nosferatu would probably be best watched on a big screen with, like, an orchestra or something, instead of, like, watching it in, like, on YouTube or something. Silence of the Lambs is, it's more of, like, a thriller, I guess. You know, if you're into that kind of thing, I think it can definitely work. It's definitely quite iconic, and it's a pretty well-made movie, for sure. The night goggle scene's pretty good at the end. And, yeah, there's some very classic lines in it. Yeah, like, I wouldn't put it back. It's pretty alright. Oh, I'm sorry, Hazel. Jeez. It's not November yet. Hazel, you've got until the end of the end of this day, at least in my time zone. However long you've got left until November begins. Go fucking wild, alright? Have I seen Pumpkinhead? No, I think I know about the video game, and that's about it, I'm afraid. How's it going with you, dearest? OnlyFans. I don't know, maybe like only succubuses? I don't know, what would you call it? Like only... one... Oh, no. I'm sorry, Hazel, you've already lost. I'm sorry, my condolences, but it's Halloween. You got to take the spooks where you got them. You know, I feel like I'd probably, in all seriousness, I'd probably be more of like a photo set kind of fella, more than like keeping up to date with monthly subscriptions, like an OnlyFans is exhausting. I've got enough to do with like Patreon and other stuff with YouTube. Oh, is it? So it's already the 1st of November in India, Kami-san. Ah, my condolences. Greg, which version of Nosferatu are we talking about? Are we talking about the 1920s one? I think you said you saw the 21. Sorry, I was lost in the chat for that for a second. I mean, it's pretty old, the Nosferatu. I quite liked what Werner Herzog did, but it seems it's quite different from the original. The original certainly has pretty striking imagery. That's what I'd give it. Do I guys manage to read manga in between? I don't know. I don't read too much manga, to be honest, unless it's for a video. I like reading manga, I just, the ways I used to read it don't happen anymore. Like, I used to read it when I was traveling. I don't do that as much now. Can I give 3 or 4 horror movies? I've been giving a couple, in the chat. Like, I'm trying to think of other ones that I really have enjoyed watching. What horror movies do I like? Alright, maybe, alright. You know what I might have to do? I might have to cheat here. I might have to see if I can go on... I used to be one of those dorks that went on IMDb and put all the movies they used to watch. So what I might do is go on my my watch list from my old IMDb and see if I can find all the horror films I've said I've watched, and see I wonder if there's a way I can do it by like kind of refine it by feature film. Okay. And I'm going to define it by horror. So this list might not go... Okay, here we go, the horror list. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of the big ones. I mean, what I consider the big ones. Like I said, I said I enjoyed the Psycho. I've been meaning to watch The Shining again. It's been a while since I've seen The Shining. I do remember enjoying it. It's a very dense film, and I feel like watching it in like high definition would be really fun, just because of all like the background stuff. Again, I said The Thing. I'm definitely a big Thing. Oh my god, I forgot about Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2, such a fun film. Also kind of like suspenseful. Not like as wacky as Army of Darkness for sure, but like it's a different kind of tone. Evil Dead 2 and 1. I feel like 1 is probably the most straight up horror film of the bunch, but Evil Dead 2 is probably the one that people... It's like the even mode. Like if Evil Dead 1 is horror, then Evil Dead 2 is like a mixture of horror comedy, where Evil Dead 3 is strictly a kind of comedy fantasy thing. Thanks. Dressed as an eagle. I will have you know, Electric Corgi, I am dressed as a succubus. See that? I got wings and everything. Little tassels. Among other stuff. I had a tail somewhere too, but no, we don't have a tail right now. I do have a tail somewhere to add to it. The Ring, yeah, The Ring, yeah. I've seen some of the, okay. I have seen the Japanese Grudge, is that June-on? And I've seen some of the original Japanese Ring, but I was watching it with friends and we never finished watching it. So Whimsy Dearest gives The Ritual, Above All Below. People like The Shining. Oh, I don't know if I consider The Lighthouse to be a horror film, but it definitely has horror elements. The Lighthouse is a great film, though. Definitely like a psychological study. Certainly, yeah, I could see there'd be horror aspects in there. I don't know if I believe it's like 100% like a horror, but I mean, these things kind of, they obviously, you never know how it's going to go. So, yeah, I mean, if The Lighthouse is just a good film, watch The Lighthouse. It's pretty good. It's pretty suspenseful at times. Really love that ending. What's my IMDb? I'm not telling anyone my fucking IMDb. It's old as shit. David Mann, I am going for the scares. It's too late for you to be I actually don't know where you live, but yeah. What's this? I mean, I'm a succubus. That's something I saw recently. Actually, I saw it's not Hereditary. What's the summary one? What's the summary one called? Drink some. No, I don't drink milk. Yeah, I saw the Evil Dead remake in Succubus original ego. Okay, fair enough. I feel like they had different goals, but I don't know. Incubus. I don't think I've seen Incubus. Yeah, the remake of Evil Dead's pretty solid. I think they're trying to make another one on that timeline, which might be interesting. I think I saw the Evil Dead remake in the cinemas, and yeah, it was pretty alright. I think I prefer generally the original trilogy, but I appreciate what they were trying to go with. There's definitely some moments to it. Lighthouse is sci-fi? How'd you pull that one off? Midsummer, yes, there you go, Midsummer. I saw that recently. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Very like The Wicker Man. I have a feeling I've seen the original Wicker Man. I'm trying to remember here because I've seen the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man. I've definitely seen the Wicker, but I have a feeling I definitely watched the original too. But it's been so long, I'm having like this blurred memory of like, wait, did I actually watch the original Wicker Man? I think I did. I think I did watch it. It's based in the Isle of Man. But yeah, the Nicolas Cage one is certainly a trip. I wouldn't recommend watching it, but like there's some highlight reels out there if you want to watch the director's cut, which has the not the bee scene, the classic not the bees, not the bees, yeah, the classic. Definitely not as cagey as you can get, but it's definitely an iconic Cage scene. Incubuses are the male? I thought we were talking about film. No, I'm a succubus. Cosmic horror, yeah, I could see that. Let's see, where are we at? Sorry, did I miss something? Oh yeah, so I was going for my IMDb, wasn't I? The favorite Cage film. Ooh, if we're talking about extreme Cage, maybe like Vampire's Kiss. But I also really like Adaptation. Let's see, what other favorite Cage films do I have? Vampire's Kiss is probably one of the most funny of his films. But yeah, Adaptation's one of the best. I'd really like to see Pig. I haven't seen that yet. I thought he was pretty good in Kick-Ass. Oh, Face Off. Face Off is a real fucking classic. Face Off. Face Off. I can eat a peach for hours. What a classic lineup. It's really sharp, and I'm knocking my light colours. But yeah, Face Off is a really good time. Really fun time. I think Vampire's Kiss is definitely one to show the whole family. I don't know if I mean it that way, but Vampire's Kiss is just such an anomaly, and it's written by a very particular screenwriter. I actually believe that the screenwriter between Vampire's Kiss has a really fascinating feeling towards his world and characters, because it's the same screenwriter that wrote After Hours from Martin Scorsese. After Hours is one of my favourite Martin Scorsese films because it's such a surreal situation to be in. Maybe horror in some ways, almost absurdist at other points. It also feels like an adventure game gone wrong, because it's just such like, how the fuck is this happening? But other Cage films, I might have to go on my IMDb to remember all the Cage films I've seen. Looking through the rest of these list of films I've seen, Dead Alive is pretty cool, yeah. I've already said Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah, these are all like pretty bog standard. You've Shaun of the Dead's. Eraserhead, if you consider that. Sorry, I was supposed to be looking at Cage though. So let me just go up. I'm gonna go on Cage's films, and I'll be able to just I'll just look through his. All right, what the hell's going on here? Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage took his name from Luke Cage, the comic book character. Nicolas Cage is a real character, you could say. An assorted one. I really want to see The Rock. I haven't seen The Rock. I feel like I'd love that. Leaving Las Vegas is a pretty good film, but it's really depressing. It is decent, but I don't think it's really where I believe Cage can shine the best. Let's see. I'll go through this list. I'm going to have a look through all of it. He's done so many fucking roles. I'd really like to see Pig. I haven't seen that one. I feel like I'd really like that. My friend really liked Mandy. He wanted to show me that. I haven't seen it yet, though. I'm just going to go through the... God, there's so fucking many of them. No, that wasn't him, was it? Oh, God, what is it? I'd like to see Ghost Rider 2, but I have not seen that one yet. National Treasure is a pretty good film. It is true. National Treasure is a fun time. And then Lord of War. I did really like Lord of War. Seen that a couple times. That's a pretty straightforward one. Not one of his more weird ones. I really want to see... God, what film did I really want to see? 8mm, maybe I wanted to see that one. But I really want to see his film with David Lynch. Wild at Heart. I really want to watch Wild at Heart. My friends and me, we've done like 2 Cageathons, I call them, where we just watched non-stop Nicolas Cage films, and I feel like it's about time for another. It's been almost a decade. So maybe we'll bring back that. But yeah, that's my Cage list for everyone. Favorite Oshii movie? Probably Angel's Egg. Yeah, there's like phallic stuff in the original Wicker Man, isn't there? Yeah, I feel like I'd like Mandy Winsey. I think that would be up mine. Yeah, Face Off is a really fun time. I've seen the original Ghost Rider in the theatres. I'd like to see the other one. After Hours is a really great film. I love that film. CEO of Memes. Congratulations. Thank you for the nice comments. We're going hard tonight. Go home or go hard. Cage Uncaged, yeah, the Uncaged-a-thon. Oh, there's a film that I was really alright. There's a film that Nicolas Cage did in like the 90s, and it's like an absolute nepotism film. If you don't know, Nicolas Cage is from the Coppola family, but he changed his name because he didn't want to have the Coppola name as like a brand mark. But in the early 90s, he did a film for one of his cousins, I believe it was, and it's one of his earlier films. Not like, I think he was still around at this time. It's called, what was it called? Deadfall, 93. It's kind of in the middle. He's already sort of started making a career for him. I feel like it's a favour kind of film. But he does this film where he plays a character called Eddie in Deadfall. And now Eddie is absolutely hog wild as a character. He is just the most insane Cage character. And the film is so fucking boring. But every time Eddie's on screen, it's such a joy. Like, just watch all the Eddie scenes on YouTube and you'll have a fucking blast. What was it? What does he say? Joker's fucking wild. He's in the coke state. He's in the coke psycho state in such a way that he's having a blast. And yeah, those scenes are excellent. The rest of the film is so fucking boring we had to turn it off. It was. We watched all these. We watched so many other Cage films. So that's a testament. We finished fucking Wicker Man, but we couldn't finish Deadfall. It was too fucking. And it was 90 minutes. It was just so fucking boring. Is there any horror anthology series? I think there is, but I'm not that up to date with them. Favorite Arno thing? I don't know, what's that got to do with horror? I'm not really sure. What would it be? I really like Shin Godzilla. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite or not. I feel like there's something I really like of his, but I'm blanking on right now, so I don't know. We'll leave that to another time. So is it a Golden Boy reference? Maybe. I don't know, it's a succubus. Yeah, there's like a lot of anthology horrors out there. I think there's probably even TV shows. I mean, they had like... I mean, does a Twilight Zone count? Because that's kind of horror at times. Definitely Twilight Zone is very fun at times and kind of leans towards horror-like situations. Tales from the Crypt, I've never seen, but I've heard fun things about. Yeah, I don't know about anime-wise, about horror in anime. I feel that it's kind of a hard thing to, like... I guess it's like When They Cry, or what do they call that in Japanese? I forget. Those are kind of horror-esque and sort of messed up. Maybe Elfen Lied counts as a kind of horror-esque. I mean, it's definitely horrific at times. I'm trying to think of any truly, like, horror, like, hardcore anime that I've watched where I'm like... I mean, we mentioned Vampire Hunter D, which I think is kind of more in the action-y sort of horror as an aesthetic. I'm trying to think of any like core horror animes that have really hit me on the mark or like really disturbed me, and I don't really know. I guess I haven't watched that many either, so I can't really say. Speaking of which, Lynch is 1984 this weekend. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that... I don't think David Lynch has much to say about it. He didn't get final cut. He's pretty pissed off with the Dune 1984 film. But I think it's an interesting remnant, for sure. J-horror. There's definitely... There was a Japanese horror film I watched about ghost stories from 2005. I forget what the name was, though. But it was pretty subtle, and there was like a really interesting ending to it. It was like... almost like shot for reality, but I don't remember what the name was. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of J-horror, because like, I've seen a lot of the obvious J-horror films. Like I've seen the Cell Phone one, and I've seen some like Audition. I really like Audition, and I've seen things like the classic Grudge, you know, Jin-Un, and most of the classic Ring. I don't know. I'd probably just go with what I said would be Audition. I mean, I know people like Shiki. I've never seen Shiki though, so I can't really talk for it. I mean, Junji Ito makes cool stuff for sure. I like Junji Ito's like mangas. I'm looking forward to the Uzumaki adaptation, mainly for the music though. Though I do believe the director, I like a lot of the director's other work. So like I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the picture, but mainly for the music. I mean, if you don't get final cut, it's not even your film really. It's just like what they've left. I really do like Devilman. I mean, it definitely has horror elements for sure. Devilman's a lot of fun. Is that Noroi? 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 Koi? Noroi? Yeah. This looks fun. Wait, did I see this? This looks familiar, but I don't know if I saw it. It looks fun though, I should write that down. A documentary filmmaker explores a seemingly unrelated paranormal incident connected to the legend of a demon. No, I think I was going to watch this though. I think I was recommended this at some point, and I might have been given a link to it, but I never got around to watching it. Is it like Documentary Crew? Yeah, I feel like I should see that. I feel like I'd like it. Sorry. Yeah, Audition, very good, yeah. High drop rate. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, the cast of Dune, the old one, pretty fascinating, to be honest. But I think it's Dune is not a very easy book to adapt, so I don't really blame them for being a bit of a struggle. I generally think that the audio-visual side of horror is so important that, like, I don't know if a book, at least in my experience, can really hit as hard, but I suppose it depends on what makes you scared. Personally, I've never read, like, anything that really freaked me out in the same way as, like, watching something, but that's probably because I'm quite visual, though I imagine there's people who disagree with that. Though it's not like I've read a huge amount of horror literature either, so there might be something that would contradict that. But I do think that audio is half the battle with horror, so I feel that the horror elements... I mean, I must say that, like, video games are probably, like, the most easy to, like, really capture horror, because the experience of being participating in the horror itself can add and heighten to someone an experience in a way where watching something can't. So I think that a lot of horror games are really fascinating. Like old school, like my Silent Hills and all that. I was, a big fan of, like, Silent Hill 2 and 1. And I do like some of those old Resident Evil games too. Though God, how many have I even beat? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I feel like it was in a Fatal Frame back in the day. What's it called? What's the zombie house? House of the Dead? House of the Dead's really fun. Yeah, the composer. Yeah, he did work for Hereditary. I'm really familiar with God, what's his name? I know his name. I've listened to some of his albums before. Like I was a big fan of him before his composing. Colin Stetson. Colin Stetson, like, if you've ever seen Colin Stetson perform live, that man is a beast. He's got, like, the lungs of a god. I saw him play. He has, like, a classic. Like, he has this 100-year-old giant, like, saxophone. It's huge, and he plays it, like, continuously, and he has a throat mic on. It's such a wild experience seeing him do it, because he's continuously breathing and exhaling and breathing and exhaling, and he's inhaling and breathing, exhaling at the same time continuously for, like, 10 minutes. He gets, like, red, and it goes, it's like a cycle, and then he's at the same time playing a mic on his throat that makes noises that go like, wah, 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 wah. So this is how he does it at once, and he does these two things at the same time, and it makes such an inhuman experience that you don't even understand how it can be made until you see it with your own eyes. But, like, when you see him play with his classic giant thing, he is a beast. Dead Tube, the manga. I have not seen that one. Maybe I'll have to look into that. Dead Tube is a manga series. I will have to look into it. Where are we at? Okay, I guess Noroi is getting some good calls in the chat. I'll have to watch it sometimes. Alright. Whimsy, I imagine this is your day, it's your month, it's your year. So have a good one, Whimsy. Which way do you prefer between standalone complex and 95 gits? I don't know. They're, like, very different. I don't know. It's hard. I don't feel like there's much point of, like, choosing one or the other, because what they try and achieve is so dramatically different. Like, aesthetically, I would prefer the movie, but, like, I do think the series does things that the movie can't. I haven't seen the new Dune, but I have very mixed feelings about Blade Runner 2049. I don't think it should have been Blade Runner connected at all. I feel that, like, Blade Runner 2049 feels like a weird piece of, like, turning a film which is like a noir, small detective story with, like, some further things going on there, turning that piece into a biblical piece that then this film is then frames its whole world around. And I don't like that at all. I generally think that like removing the first film completely from 2049 would make it a better film in every way. Shaman, like, I don't know if I'd say that. Yeah, I've heard about Devotion. That sounds like a good time. By Kurosawa, but different Kurosawa. What what is it? What is this thing that you're talking about? Kaya and Kairo by Kurosawa? Masters of Cinema. So this is like a movie, is it? Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Is it Kyo? Is it Cure? Or is it Pulse? Oh, you know what might be considered a kind of horrific? Would be like Tetsuya the Iron Man. Don't know if I'd say it's 100% horror, but like it certainly can lead into it. It's definitely cyberpunk in its Japanese setting, but there's definitely a real horror atmosphere to it at times. Iron Man's really effective, very visceral, good body horror. Looking very, I don't know what that would be. Yeah, we're dressing up tonight. On a good dress up. We're talking about horror stuff. Oh yeah, I should probably, god damn it. I forgot to mention the conceit of this. You know, I released a video, I guess it'd be like a week ago now. And that was the one on Fantastic Planet, and I thought it would be a bit of a wild card because it's hard to tell if it would do well or bad, and it would probably have been like off the remnants of my last video. If I could have released it earlier, it may have performed better. It's kind of not performing very well at all, which is unfortunate because there's a sponsorship and deals on top of it, which is making it very hard. So I guess I should ask people, like, you know, if you haven't seen it, check it out, and if you have, I don't know, leave it on in the background or something, because I need to get a lot more views than I'm going to possibly be able to get on that video. So I've got to do something about it. I changed the title, but I've been curious, like, what even to call the Fantastic Planet video, because I had a title in mind that was very YouTubey, and it didn't seem to really like catch. So like from now, I thought I'm like out of ideas. So I think currently it might be called like Fantastic Planet is the weirdest movie or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know what to call it. I haven't got a clue. This is not where I have an act, to be honest. The outfit, it's a Halloween outfit. It's a succubus outfit. It's Halloween. Why are you not wearing anything? I don't have any Neko ears, I'm afraid. I mean, I'm a succubus, I don't need Neko ears. Oh, the wings. I don't know if you can see them. Maybe I need to... Do I need to go like this so you people... Wait, can people see that way? If I go like this... No, it's really hard to see them. It's probably not helping with the... Wait a minute. Maybe if I... Oh, 1 second, everyone. Maybe that'll make it... Yeah, you can kind of see them a bit more now. There we go. So now you can kind of see the wings easier. Alright, where were we at? Sorry. Spook Shelves, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with the Fantastic Planet video. I don't know what to share it or do with it to, like, it was like a wild kind of, you know, it was a video I made in the embers of the Nausicaa video, so like it was kind of made as like a downtime thing. It was a video I made for me. Unfortunately, because as a sponsorship, I don't have to care more about like what views it gets, and it may make things annoying for me later on. But there's not much I can do about it now, but I just don't really know what to do with it. Like, I don't know where I could share it, I don't know what I could retitle it, I don't really know what to do with it. I like the thumbnail a lot. I think what I've done with it, with the type, which I added afterwards, I think it looks really good. I think it's a really good thumbnail. My title probably needs work, but I don't know what to call it. I have no idea what would make people want to watch Fantastic Planet, so I don't know, I'm probably failing right there. Am I wearing pants? I'm wearing a skirt. I'm wearing part of the outfit. It's Halloween, people. Like, come on, catch on, jeez. Q 1997. Okay. Yeah, I'm dressed up for Halloween. Simple. Yeah, I mean, it is weird body. Test of the Iron Man is weird body horror. I mean, a lot of it, like, technology spikes. It's very lo-fi, too. But no, I'm not wearing pants, I'm wearing a skirt. Because I'm a succubus, silly. And I don't think that's necessarily a best animator. I think it's a bit of a false dichotomy. Recently, though, I've been, I think his name's, is it Hashimoto? I could look it up for a second, who I was talking about earlier. He's pretty under-discussed, but he's a really fantastic animator. Let me have a look through my post here for a second. Where is he? I've written a lot recently, so it's... Where is his name? Shinji Hashimoto. Shinji Hashimoto is a very good animator who probably doesn't get as much play as he should do. Hashimoto has got, like... Not only has he done some, like, great scenes in, like, Ghibli films in terms of, like... Kaguya. He did like the running scene by the moonlight. He's also done stuff for like the Animatrix. He did this whole set piece for Spriggan, which is really fantastic. Like 2 minutes, took him like a year and a half. Him and one other person, basically, he keyed most of it himself. Like did the. It's very impressive. Yeah, someone mentioned Mandy a little while ago. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. We were talking about Cage films. I appreciate people liking the Fantastic Planet video. I just need more people to see it somehow, but I have no idea what to do with it. Yes, Sexy Steve Abyss. There you go. Now you understand. Have I ever watched Tumbad? I have not, I'm afraid. Well, you know, this is the hill I die on. If I get, I don't think this is too sexy, to be honest. I think this is perfectly adequate for YouTube. I don't know. Like I've seen people do like topless, well, men doing topless streams, and it tends to. I've seen that happen. I think it's fine. I'm wearing clothes. For Halloween, I think you can get away with being a bit more scandalous. Wicked City is interesting. I don't know if it's horror, but I mean, it certainly has elements. There's definitely body horror in it. If it wasn't with the virus, I would be emo. What's the virus? For Halloween party. I mean, I went to a Halloween party yesterday in this, so I literally did wear it for a Halloween party. So you know. So what were we saying about something? What was the point of, what were we talking about? Oh, I was about to say, what's the film called? Videodrome. Videodrome, I guess it would be considered some form of horror, kind of like psychological in a way. Videodrome's really good. I really like Videodrome. That's James Woods, I think, but like the way it uses a kind of visceral, that like, it's a very Cronenberg. Cronenberg has a kind of style and feel to it, you know, and he likes a bit of body horror, but it's just like the way it uses sensory is really good, and I think that Videodrome's excellent. I know we were mentioning horror films. We were going through like a whole list. I had to go on my IMDb to remember what I'd watched prior. I mean, it won't be everything, but you know, there's some stuff in there from back in the day. Maybe I'll get it back up again. Refine it. Genres. I mean, I'll just leave it to just horror in general and see what comes up. They got Gremlins in here. I mean, it kind of is, but that's a little bit silly to put that in there. But I guess, you know, they're just doing it by like, if the genre tag is on it at all. Let's move that one a bit over here. Let's have a look. Dawn of the Dead is really good, actually, and Day of the Dead. I didn't mention those, but like they're probably predictable. But yeah, both of those very cool. Looking for the list. Is there anything else out here that I'm really down with? The Flight is cool. That's true. American Werewolf had definitely some good, like, very good makeup work in that film. I've already mentioned Vampire's Kiss. Jacob's Ladder has really good imagery. Definitely Jacob's Ladder is really interesting in that area. Yeah, Videodrome, I mentioned that before. Oh, In the Mouth of Madness by John Carpenter. I really like that film. And looking through... Poultrygeist, there you go. I'm gonna sneeze. I think I'm gonna sneeze. Am I sneezing? Okay, I guess I'm not sneezing anymore. Yeah, Poultrygeist is a lot of fun, even though it's disgusting. So there's no quarantine over here in England right now. Naked Lunch. I fell asleep watching Naked Lunch. I think there's definitely some good imagery in it, but it's definitely... I mean, making a film out of Naked Lunch, the book in itself, is already quite a struggle. So kudos to them, but yeah. I don't remember... I'm pretty sure I fell asleep halfway through, but you know, I was very tired at the time. I have a bad habit of doing that. I mean, con films certainly have elements of that. I think Paranoia Agent has like one of the most horror episodes out of all the stuff he's done. And I guess then it's just sort of like his first film, right? Perfect Blue. The rest aren't really horror-y, though I guess Paprika maybe in some ways. Yeah, the transformation. I remember when I was very young, guys. Oh, okay. There's an advert playing now. That's lame. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. We were listening to spooky Sonic music and you're ruining it. Yeah, when I was younger, I got this book out of the library. Oh, it's over, that's why. Okay, never mind. I guess we're out of music now. That's fine. Yeah, when I was younger, I went to the library and I got this book out about, like... And it had some elements about, like, special effects stuff in, like, films. And it was mentioning how people do, like, wolf makeup. I remember this very, very vividly. That like, it just showed you, like, how the transition of, like, how you add different pieces to the face to, like, turn someone into, like, a... It was probably more like a 40s Wolfman kind of bit, where, you know, it's, like, the nose and the hair. And then, like, how they slowly add bits and pieces. And there was stuff in there, like, how to make fake blood and all this other stuff. I only read it loosely, but, yeah, it was a fun little book. I guess it was for kids. I don't know. So it was probably written for them. But, yeah, you know, the wonders of the library when you're young, eh? Rizzy, I have no idea where your comment got removed because I haven't removed any comments. I haven't been able to keep up with them. Cat saying Momo, I've made a video about Plus. You know that, right? The first video, I think it's part 1 on, like, the guy behind Bebop, or the man behind Cowboy Bebop. Like, that video we talk about Watanabe's whole career. So, you know, we begin by mentioning his early work at Sunrise and then going into talk about, you know, Macross Plus, the first film that he, like, co-directed. Or, like, first OVA even. I mean, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Is it a bra? I guess so. I mean, it's wings. I don't know what you'd consider it. Maybe. I don't know what you'd call it. There might be like an auto filter. Maybe YouTube like auto filter and remove stuff that like it thinks is too bad for even me to flag. I don't know. YouTube's funny like that sometimes. I have no idea what it does. Alright, I'm gonna take these off. Okay, Now we're... Let's see, how we're looking right now. How we're looking. Oh, that's too sultry. Too sultry, I'm gonna get fired. Do I zoom in a bit? Like that, maybe? Oh, we out of power on this? There we go. There we go. Oh, well, we're getting a little croppage, but, you know, that'll do. Slight croppage. It'll do for now. I want to show the whole outfit. For now, at least. Right. Where are we at, everyone? Can you see my legs? Wait, can you see my legs on the screen? Not really. Yeah. Like I said, we got a little horns on them. Okay. I don't know what the encouragement of the climb is, I'm afraid. We've already got enough red light. Aeon Flux. I haven't really seen much Aeon Flux, like outside of bits and pieces. Peter Chung's work's kind of interesting, but I also find it a little uncanny, a little creepy to watch. Because I had to watch one of them for the Animatrix anthology stuff that's coming up for the 4C month. Oh no, James. Well, you'll be fine. Thank you. Sorry, what were we even talking about? Yeah, I've only seen the Japanese live action films of Death Note. I can't really help you there. Yeah, I gave it 12 earlier. I can't be bothered to get up right now. Maybe we're doing a little bit, but... I mean, I've taken my things off now, so it's a little easier to do it, but... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. So, what were we even mentioning before? We were talking about horror films and horror anime. Mentioned quite a few. But I guess it's always to consider for where's the line on horror, because you can sort of talk about, like, David Lynch has, like, really horrific scenes in his movies at times, and some people will put David Lynch as, like, Eraserhead in there, though other ones maybe not as much. Though I always think, you know, there's, like, nightmares, basically. Like, there's really good scenes in Lost Highway, really good stuff in Lost Highway, where there's, like, the I don't know what he did, like, the Nomad Man, sort of unblinking gentleman who appears, and he, like, just gives this talk to the main character, just unblinking individual, stark white. It's very, very uncomfortable. Or there's that bit in there's a bit in Blue. No, it's not Blue. It's the one about Hollywood. God, what's it called? I don't remember it all. It's like 2000s film or something. I'll have to look it up. It is Mulholland Drive. Maybe someone in the chat's already said that now. Yeah, Mulholland Drive. That one, there's like a weird monster guy in it. I don't know. There's like lots of that. Even like in Twin Peaks, right? There's just these moments of like horrific stuff that happen that you got to be like you got to be careful for. And I think sometimes they hit harder because obviously the rest of the movies aren't necessarily like horror. They kind of melt the line between other things, and even in like Blue Velvet, there are like elements of like kitsch, but then like these sort of horrific scenes too. Obayashi's House I've not seen. Yeah, I've not seen the original Boogie Pop Phantom from the 2000s, but it seems like something I'd like because it's both Triangle and Madhouse working on something. It's got a good style. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Killing of the Sacred Deer, I have not seen it. I don't know what it's about. Apparently it's like a horror film, is it? Don't know. Don't know it. I gotta start getting rid of some of these. There's so many things in the chat now. I'm gonna remove a bunch of stuff. Make it easier for me to find more tabs. Yeah, Jackal, that's true. Like, Lynch has like a style of his own, I guess, when it comes to that. Yeah, the Nightmare Hobo, whatever they want to call him, Nightmare Hobo, whatever he is. In that movie. Devil's 1971, eh? I should probably look into that. Yeah, this does look pretty cool visually. I think I've seen this film somewhere else before. Where have I seen it? I don't know. It's an interesting looking film. Yeah, should probably look into it. Got a lot of good recommendations out of it tonight. I mean, yeah, Lynch's stuff is always quite dream-like, so, you know, you can jump from, like, a very nice dream to a dark one very quickly. Speaking of weird stuff, like I said before earlier, if you haven't came in beforehand, released a video last week, Fantastic Planet. Strange video, strange movie, strange situation. Because of its sponsorship deals, I'm supposed to get more views on it. So if anyone wants to click it again, be my guest. I don't know. If anyone's also got suggestions, I probably need to change the title again. I don't know. I'm feeling like I need to find a title that actually works, but I have no idea what to go with. Or like I need to know where I could, I don't know, share it. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. But yeah. Sure, I mean, yeah, you can make that argument. Like, I mean, I don't know, horror is a very abstract term. Like, how do we define horror? In the lines can be kind of, because yeah, anything can have horror elements. Like, there can be a scene of a cartoon that's something like horrific, right? Where do we draw the line on horror? I guess is up to the individual. Do I actually play Raid Shadow Legends? I played it for that video. But I can't play, well, look at my wrist. This wrist, I can't play anything with this wrist. I haven't had time to watch the new, I have not had time to watch the new Dune movie. No. I'm like 27. Yeah, I think I have killed that Fantastic Planet video. I don't know what to do with it. It's not moving very much. It's moving a little bit, but it's not moving at the speed that it needs to move, and I don't know what to do with it. yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anything. I don't necessarily know if something being a dream or not makes it less horrific or horror. I don't know. I mean, I've had some scary dreams in my past. Um, yeah, in terms of the wrist injury, yeah, I try to give people updates. It's a very slow recovery. I feel like it's certainly better than it was, like, I don't know, 6 or so a year ago maybe. But it's still in like a recovery phase, and it's still something I have to play with. And I've been using my brace less, which is probably a good thing. But at the same time, I notice it more because when I'm not wearing the brace, it's more likely to like do something that hurts it. So like sometimes I try not to wear the, like if I'm going out, if I'm out and about, I won't wear it. Like I'm walking stuff. But if I have to do anything that's intensive with my hands, then yeah, it's ideally I need to be wearing it. I didn't wear it. I usually have to wear it every night, but like I didn't wear it the other day because I didn't know where I'd put it. And I was just trying to test out like how, because usually if I don't wear it at night, it just gets really bad. And I woke up and I was like, yeah, this is not a great situation. I mean, I didn't really mess it up, but it definitely made it a lot more tender. So I kind of came to the conclusion that yeah, it looks like it's still in the state where I have to keep wearing the brace. Though it's more functional, but like yeah, I think it fatigues pretty easily, and I've got to be careful. Especially with the amount of work I've got to do through like 4C month, I've got to make sure I don't do some damage to it again. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really a bad thing, but it has 18 parts. I mean, it's the same as the books. Like, that movie, as far as I understand, is like a third or a half of the first book. But if they want to just keep making them, then I don't see why not. Be like complaining. I don't know, if you're going to complain about Star Wars, right? I probably wouldn't start complaining with, like, there's like fucking 20,000 of these films and other stuff. It's like, you can pick and choose, I guess. But yeah, like that's just the nature of a long story. Just most of the time they don't get all the pieces adapted. But if Warner Brothers want to keep doing it, they'll probably at least get 3 of those out before they die in the water. Yeah, I mean, buzzwords is the issue, yeah, for sure. Because I've seen videos on Fantastic Planet in the past do really well, but I have no idea why they did that. And since the creator's already passed away, I don't really know what would be the next booster for it. It is just kind of that niche, I guess. And I'm not the kind of channel. I guess if another channel that was like really big made a video on Fantastic Planet, I might get in the secondary boosts. But that's wishful thinking at the best. What was the original injury? I talk about it in one of my update videos recently called The End. If you want to really get into it, the short of it is it was just strain injury basically from animation and other stuff. Any paranormal encounters in my life? No, absolutely not. Spookiest paranoia encounter I had is by watching one of those ghost hunter shows. That was real spooky. When you're like 12, those shows are like pretty spooky. Where you're like, oh, something happened in the dark. Oh, it certainly wasn't a stagehand. Yeah, they go looking for the Jersey Devil or something. You're like, are we gonna find the Jersey Devil? And it's like, no, you're not. You're not gonna find the Jersey Devil. Hmm. Do I need to take a look at, what's that, Osama ranking? Oh, I need to? It looks cute, but I don't have time to watch it. I like how it looks. It looks like a fun little show, but I don't have time. So, no, I don't need to look at it. And I don't follow One Punch Man now. Oh, yeah, fair. If you want to see some spooky stuff, people. I mean, it's in your name, Spooky Shout, so I guess I can't really stop you there. But yeah, people should probably be watching horror films on Halloween. Probably not me. I can give you recommendations. I'd probably really good, but I'm not the best at that, to be honest. All right. Well, all right. Salo, what you're saying there doesn't help me at all. It's not about worrying about a video doing well. Like, I have a sponsorship commitment. Do you understand? Like, I have a deal with a sponsor that's like, I need to hit this many views, or I have to do other stuff contractually with them, which is why I'm trying to encourage that video. Because it's part of my job to have to be concerned about that in terms of that sort of thing, especially when you have a contract. If it was like any other situation, like it was any other video, then I would probably give it like a mild push, and if it doesn't go anywhere, nothing I can do about it. But in a situation like this, I kind of have to care because I've committed to caring. And I wouldn't say YouTube's completely random. I think you can definitely, I mean, people have careers out of like knowing how this stuff works. It's very difficult to know because half of it's like moon magic, but like there are certainly ways of reading this stuff. Certainly isn't like a situation where like the best content gets promoted because YouTube doesn't care about that. It's more so, some sort of weird mixture of trends and whatever people like find appealing to click on, and some of it is just randomly recommended stuff that people end up clicking. And no, I'm not taking a few months off. That's absolutely not the case. I've had this injury for over a year. Taking a few months off is not going to help it because like I don't know when this thing is going to heal. If I didn't do anything for months at an end, it may not get much better at all. That's just the nature of the game with a wrist injury that's gone this long. Like I've had weeks upon weeks where I've been doing minimal stuff with it because I'll be like researching or reading and whatever else, and I'm not drawing and I'm not editing, and that's a large portion of stuff I'm doing, and like so I'm not really doing a lot with my wrist, but that doesn't mean that my wrist is going to magically get better. Yeah, Sela, maybe don't make assumptions, please. The top is making it a horror film. Oh yeah, of course. Why would the top's of course making it a horror film? It's a succubus thing. I'm wearing an outfit for Halloween, aren't you? Yeah, I like Yellow Submarine, but again, like I feel that it's too much of a kind of risky topic. I don't think I could make a video about it. Yeah, generally, like, yeah, YouTube is a game of like knowing where you do well and what your products are. And generally, this is a channel about Japanese media usually. So I rarely jump out of that sort of line unless I have some interest in doing it casually. But those videos, are kind of like they're really a game of like you don't know how well they're gonna do. To be fair, a lot of the times I have jumped out of that line. They've done quite well, but not always at first. Like, say, for example, my video King and the Mockingbird, that's like 150,000, I think, something like that. That started off doing pretty well back in the early days, but it has become really well. At first, the video I did on The Thief and the Cobbler didn't do very well. Got about 3,000 views in a month, and then at some point, randomly, it blew up twice. Then there's the video I did on Mobius's, the Mobius Leloup film, which did very well off the success of the Toshicon video, so that those three there. And then there was another one I did, I believe. What was the other one I did? I did Fantastic Planet, definitely. There might be another one I've done, but there's like a couple that are like away from the area where I usually cover that have done surprisingly well, just randomly. But again, like with those things, it's a bit of a crapshoot. So like, my video on Fantastic Planet could explode in like 6 months' time. That's cool and all, but yeah, when you're dealing with like sponsors, they only care about the first month. Thank you, Fluggy. I mean, yeah, I'm the spice succubus right now. Halloween drip indeed. But yeah, I used to watch Yellow Submarine quite a lot on VHS, but it probably isn't a video I could make. I don't think. I don't know. I think it's a little too out there. I'd totally be in someone else's video about it though. I do like stop motion. I've tried it before though. It's a bit of God, it's the strenuous task to do. I think you've got to have like a real patience to get that stuff down. Even in just like having to set everything up and keeping it all in the right place is a harsh one. I don't know about this idea that the algorithm cares about ideology. I don't think they give us two shits because YouTube has got in trouble many a times for doing very unethical things with the algorithm. I don't think they care about how wholesome your content is or not, really. Considering that they were literally, bragging to their sponsors about targeting 3 to 6 year olds or something beforehand. They got like smacked down by Copper. It's all money to them. Is it carpal tunnel? I think it could be carpal. The issue is, I was talking to some doctors. They did a nerve test, and they told me there was no nerve damage, at least. But they never got back to me about doing an ultrasound. An ultrasound would have told me if it was carpal tunnel or like repetitive strain, but they just haven't got back to me, which means I probably have to contact them at some point. After that period, my wrist started like improving a fair bit to the point where I was like, I don't know if I need to go. I don't know if it's as pressing, but like, I probably still should do it because it would be a lot easier to get like like a steroid injection to give me a couple months of relief while I'm like into intensive animation for the next project. So like I'll try and book something up, but like because of COVID, like a lot of the doctors like appointments are just completely destroyed. So it's a bit of a crapshoot, to be honest. And 909 Crime, I mentioned it earlier because my injuries on my wrist, I can't really do much gaming. I'm not cold at all, no. I'm very warm. I'm just warm in general, I exude heat. Yeah, I mean, I think if you do some sort of light exercises or like things I guess it's kind of a physio, but like if you do some light stuff, it's probably, it's not, it can help, definitely. Like cycling was really good for my wrist recently, though I haven't been out for a couple of weeks because it's been really wet and I've been busy. But I'd like to get back on cycling soon because it's good. It's good, like really light exercise, and moving and adjusting of your body with it sort of helps it reflex and push back a bit. So that's been good. But outside of doing my stretches and such, I mean, I can cope with it usually, but yeah, it's just a lot more difficult when you have to do stuff like my job, right, where it's there's a lot of editing involving and drawing, which usually specifically the wrist. So like I have to work around that. Yeah, light stuff is really important. Cameron, we're on Halloween. We're wearing outfits. But yeah, I really very much enjoy cycling when I get to do it. But yeah, because it's England, the weather's always very up and down. I've had to do enough cycling in the rain for a lifetime, but I don't tend to go out just for the sake of it. It's also not great for that chain. Biking at night is actually really peaceful for sure if you're someone that's kind of safe, at least. Because it can be really nice to bike at night, but like if there's like reckless drivers around, you could be fucked if you don't have like at least some kind of infrastructure or some part of the road that's safe, like it being brightly lit or something. Yeah, I mean, I understand, like, it's not safe in a lot of places to cycle, but, like, yeah, definitely night cycling is nice because of the lack of people around. It's very, very peaceful. When I used to work at the cinema once upon a time, I had to cycle back sometimes 1, 2 a.m. at night, and that was really, like, there was barely any cars. Sometimes it was kind of, like, just after raining, so there was kind of dew in the air. It was really quiet. had some music on, and just like cycled. Very, very nice. Like there's all the night lights going, like all the, and I was just taking the road. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's Halloween. Yeah, going down hills when you're young is sometimes not the best move, especially if it's an uneven hill. Would not recommend hills for people who are not confident. Yeah, I mean some non-intensive exercise can be quite good for you for sure. I think someone posted a video a little while ago about like a hammer exercise, which it's not bad. Like the idea of like holding something that's kind of quite light, like a couple pounds, and like doing sort of like rotations to sort of on your wrist, or like going up and down with it, like that, just to give it some light resistance that I can strengthen against. Because yeah, I used to have a lot of strength in my wrist. My wrist was very resistant and strong. I used to draw like very long periods of time without ever getting tired, except for like very intensive animation sessions. So like going away from it now, where like I'm slowly getting better and have been for the year kind of, but like it can be a little bit jarring to end up doing like a couple hours and then starting to feel being like fucking hell, I think we have to take a break because my wrist is starting to play up. Like after only a couple hours, it's frustrating at a level where you're not used to it being that way because you've been so different for so long. But like I guess you have to keep building up that resistance. Yeah, it's rainy, and I know some people have those bikes that have like protectors on the chain, but like my bike doesn't have that kind of thing. I don't think you can really. My bike's quite lightweight. I don't know if you can just add like a protector for the chain, like one of those big water gates on it, that easily. I do have wet weather like lubricants for the bike and all that sort of stuff. I probably need to give the chain a bit of a clean soon and just like yeah, do that stuff again. Sinclair, you picked a hell of a day to came in. Happy Halloween, and I'm glad you enjoyed the Miyazaki videos. We'll probably keep doing those for a while. I kind of like jump in and out of the ones that I find interesting. So yeah, we'll probably keep going for a time. There's much to talk about usually when you find the right stuff. Am I cosplaying BDMS character? I'm cosplaying a succubus. So wait a minute, I'll check on the camera. What can we see? So alright, we've got horns, we've got things. I haven't got my tail on, unfortunately. There is a tail that comes with this. We've got wings, and there is a tail, but I don't have it with me right now. Maybe I'll put it on later. Nah. We can go back up a bit. I want to be more in frame. Yeah. Trekking, yeah, I like walking around for stuff like that. Oh wait, are we talking about trekking in like walking sense, right? I do if I can't cycle around, I tend to walk. Do a bit of a walk. Yeah, I've mentioned about Radiohead in the past, I'm pretty sure. I did check out the new Suspiria, my friend showed it to me just before the pandemic hit. Yeah, Tom York's soundtrack's pretty interesting. I thought it was... I'm more of a fan of the old Suspiria, to be honest, but I appreciate that they took a very different angle with theirs. And yeah, there's some cool stuff in it for sure. I do think the opening Suspiria track in it that he did is really good. The music video especially, I was really into the music video when it first came out, because it's kind of the sort of stuff I like to do, visually. I have your respect. I don't know, it's not a big deal to cosplay stuff, guys. Come on. I don't know. Are people afraid to wear this sort of stuff? Are they that insecure? I mean, I could see it. Like, I could see you being nervous about it in certain circumstances. Maybe more in like a public setting. I think the streams are a little less public. But you know, I kind of think it's funny when people get annoyed about things like this, which is so trivial. So it doesn't really bother me. Do I have a good movie to watch on Halloween? I mentioned some earlier in the stream. You might have missed it. I like The Thing quite a bit. I was talking about horror films I quite like Videodrome and The Thing, and I think some other people mentioned some in the chat. Like I have some up here, which is one's called Noroi, which is a Japanese horror film. I think Ava mentioned Dead Tube, which is a manga, and someone else mentioned Pulse, which is a Japanese techno horror film. I also mentioned, someone else also brought in The Devils, which looks pretty cool, very visually striking. I would like to watch all these if I got the time, but if I do or not, that's another question. But maybe at some point, maybe after December, and we've finished all those movies I have to watch for 4C month, maybe I'll watch one of these. I don't have strict favorites, Mixo. I wouldn't mind talking about more animation from different countries, but again, it's just not my MO, and that means that the difficult thing with YouTube especially is that like it tends to use your sub interest as its first point if it will like push the videos further. Like you have to have interest in your club or your tribe before that it will necessarily always push your videos to the next level. So like if you start doing videos on different topics, unless you can get a huge bump beginning wise, it's unlikely that they can push through, which is why it's harder for people to sometimes spread out their content unless they become very big on YouTube and they can get beyond that point. So I don't know, like I feel like there are other people who would be better to cover like Czech and Russian animation, because I'd like to talk about Yuri Norenstein at some point, but it's all about tactical videos, which is usually like after a very big video I can release anything and it doesn't matter. Because this is, again, at the end of the day, it's like a career move, so I have to worry about like when the best is time to do a video is, etc. But yeah, maybe Norenstein one day, but I feel like I should stay doing what the channel is supposed to be out for a bit at least. But that's usually how I like to see it first. When are we going to see fan art of Steven Succubus? I don't know. I guess that depends on people. Picnic at Hanging Rock. I haven't heard of that one. Sounds interesting. Oh, it's BBC. Oh, apparently I can watch it free on Channel 4 for some reason. Is it like a mini-series, or is there like two different versions? It's just like British done, I guess. Apparently is it a film? Australia? I don't know. Apparently it's on a local service here in the UK, so you can watch it for free. Okay. Very old school dress attire. I've not seen Yasuke. I had an idea of watching it at one point, but I don't know. Like it's I mean, Koike's involvement is very minor. He did some of the original character designs, but he's not really involved beyond that in the animation or anything. Yeah, I was kind of hoping they were going to take a different sort of approach with it. I thought it would be a bit more historical, but it's more just like a very out there kind of sci-fi anime, kitchen sink approach, and I'm not very interested in that. I did hear the soundtrack by Flying Lotus, and I thought it was good. I liked it, but I'm not particularly interested. 10-hour video, that's a bit much. Oof. Mama Logan, if you want to pay, you hit me up. I don't know, if I've got the right video. I could see me wearing something like this if I had the right video, because I feel like a video is all about having the right aesthetic for what you're talking about. So wearing something like this wouldn't be outlandish in like a JoJo video, maybe, because like his people in those manga are like already very fashion Easters and sometimes wear very particular outfits. I could probably put something like this together for a video like that. Yeah, I know Plague Dogs is another British animation made by the same people who did Warship Down, but not really my territory. Although it is British animation, so there is that to it. It's interesting at least, but I imagine other people have covered that stuff. To be fair, a video on Play Dogs would probably be easier to do because there's been other people who've done like big videos on it, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, like, I feel like it's not necessarily, the only way you get better at editing is by doing it more, and you can pirate all your software, like most people do, so it's not like it's a monetary thing, and you just have to figure out the best way of pirating it, I guess. Or you could use free stuff like HitFilm. Honestly, OnlyFans would be too much work on top of what I already do, to be honest, unless someone, like I said earlier, unless someone was helping me do it all. But I don't know. I think it's a little too much extra. Like if you're a dude on OnlyFans, you don't have much of a chance to make as much money. It seems. You're not the commodity. I mean, you could probably still do well if you're in the top like percentage, but getting there is another story, right? Oh, we're on 68 likes, so someone has to like the video and we hit 69. That would be pretty cool. And I don't eat candy. HFC, so I wouldn't be having any either way. I'm seeing this comment late, but someone liked the Dagger of Kamui video I did, which was a couple Madhouse months away, years before, and yeah, that video was actually a real fucking pain to make because it's owned by Kadokawa, and Kadokawa is a blood-sucking horrible company, and God fucking mighty are they terrible at copywriting. Oh, that was such a like difficult video to edit. I had to like re-edit it so many times, and it wasn't even worth it in the end because it still got claimed. Like I wasted like a day trying to just re-edit and cut and avoid things, but yeah, it just what a nightmare. Kadokawa's the worst. Are we? Oh, we were past 69 now. Sorry guys, it's over. The dream is over. What movie scared me when I was a kid? I have no idea, my dude. I don't know if there was a movie that scared me when I was a kid. Was there? I don't know. I don't want to say it necessarily scared me, but like I was pretty horrified by. I went to the cinema to watch Toy Soldiers, but the advertisement had lied to me. So the advertisement of Toy Soldiers had gave me the assumption that the army people were the main characters, not the other ones, right? So when one of the toys they got put through a trash dispenser, and they lost their legs, I was like horrified and very confused by like who was the main character. Again, because I think the trailers had sort of put me in this perspective where it's like, no, these characters are the good guys, but then they were the bad guys, and then one got like its legs ripped off, and I was just not having it, and I think I had to leave. Yeah, I have to get to another funny number. We have to get to 690. That would be the next funny number. I've been meaning to watch I Saw the Devil for years, but I never got around to it. I feel like I'd probably enjoy it. When I used to use IMDb for lists, it was one that was definitely on there for like the 2000s to watch, but I never got around to watching it. But that was a different generation. That was when I was much younger and had disposable time in the same way that I would just watch movies all day. Life's not quite that simple anymore, which is fine because I was fucking bored back then. So God, my dad. Yeah, I should probably watch it sometime. To be honest, I like watching films with people more so. Like, I don't tend to like, I don't really go out of my way to watch movies on my own a lot of the time now. I like watching them with people and experiencing with them more than like doing that just by myself. Yeah, well, the thing is, Cameron, with I mean, to be fair, Cameron, I was like 6 when the film came out too. Like, if I was my age now, or like if I was at least a little bit older, 12 or something, probably wouldn't be too bothered about like the false advertising. It'd be like, yeah, whatever. But I was like very young and confused at the time, 6 or 7. So, I mean that's the path of the course, right? Shitty English remakes are just how things go. I If they bring more attention to the originals, I'm not really that bothered about them. Because usually what happens is a shitty English remake does not stay in the consciousness of people longer than the original. You know, like, say for example, there's like a Fist of the North Star live action film from like the 80s that I've only know about in passing, but like I don't hear anyone ever talking about it nowadays. Not even in like reference to wow that was bad. Like, it's completely forgotten. And that happens with a lot of like unremarkable remakes. Like, some people forget that there was like there's like a prequel remake of The Thing that came out in the 2010s. It was all the late 2000s, and that's just kind of forgotten now in comparison to the first film, or the original 50s film. Hmm. Sorry, did I miss something? A hentai movie on Russian cable TV in third grade. That's interesting. I don't know what they were doing back then with Russian timetables, because nowadays there's like talk of like, was not so long ago, like there was Russian banning of certain anime, maybe because of they spent years just releasing whatever on public television or cable television, what it be. But now it seems to be a thing where they were removing different popular animes from Russian syndication for whatever reason. I guess the people and the government have seen anime as a scapegoat or something. I don't know. Gits live action used to be top search result for Gits for a few years. Um, Probably not now though, right? Because that film was a commercial failure. If I type in Ghost in the Shell now, I'll see what comes up, but it might be targeted for me. I'm going to type Ghost in the Shell, and what comes up? It's the anime movie, unsurprisingly, which is apparently now, you can now buy it on Apple TV for £3.49. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell comes up as the franchise, and then there is mention of the film as a secondary wiki, but not as the main one. And then there's a mention of a couple other things, but yeah, mostly I'm seeing images from the anime now. So I guess, yeah, maybe for a while that was like some of the videos I'm seeing a live action one for sure. But then there's also the third season of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, and I guess it's probably just the videos that have the most views with the title. Oh, look at this. Ghost in the Shell's producer reveals the true cost of a 1995 anime. This is interesting. Let's read about this, everyone. Alright, so MovieWeb has had this information. The information on the true cost of a 1995 movie arrived during a discussion on social media. Let's see. The iconic Ghost in the Shell is a 1995 movie, film long considered one of the best in the medium. I'm going to skip through a bit because I want to get to the point where we actually find out what I want to find out. The Twitter discussion with the movie budget occurred between Japanese university professor and a translator, Ihoba. Ihoba's my boy. I don't think we've ever talked in person, but he's such a cool dude. He does such great work. Ghost in the Shell producer Shigeru Watanabe joined the conversation by revealing that the true cost to be 330 million yen, which is the estimate of 3 million US dollars, which is not unrealistic for the time period. Maybe considered a little bit more back then in the 90s. Because, that was like, probably like 6 million today or whatever. While the budget may not be considered small by today's standards, by no means affects the quality of the motion picture. As multiple anime releases in the 21st century costing tens of millions of dollars, many of those projects do not have near the critical acclaim of 1995 projects. And generally, budget, quality of animation, these things do not really relate in the Japanese market, really. There's a lot of other factors that come into it, although as Shida, I think Shida said, who's a Toei animator, said that, yeah, budget, animation don't really correlate quality-wise, but if the budget is too low, you're not going to collect some of the biggest and most talented animators, which is a problem. So you can't, there is like a limit where like it could actually harm your film, but mostly a higher budget does not mean more quality. But yeah, I think that seems pretty realistic for the time period. That would have definitely been a high-profile picture. Also funded by Manga Video in England. So at least have that money coming from the Manga Video side, because they wanted those rentals, baby. So that was a complete tangent about Ghost in the Shell, but that's what this is. This is what these streams are for. Favorite OST? I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't know, I didn't see the third season of the Standalone Complex. I don't know if it's good or bad. But at least we know now that live action hasn't really become the top search result in most ways. It's kind of there, but not as much. I haven't seen the Arise OVAs, to be honest. I've been more interested in reading the original manga at some point. I think my roommate used to have it. I think they did. But like, there's a lot of fascinating stuff in the original manga, especially like a personality and a lot of drip. The costumes in the manga are really good. Such drip. Happy Halloween. Heh. We're in costume today. Favorite Otomo thing? Ooh. Don't know. Otomo's done a lot of good stuff. For a 4C month, we're talking about Memories. And I'm not really huge on his short in Memories, but I think the production as a whole, which has his stamp all over it because it's his shorts, is really good. But I feel like the short he did for Memories, very technical achievement for sure. I don't get too much out of it emotionally. It's not my vibe, but I can appreciate what he's doing with it for sure. Especially after like Ghost in the not Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell was made because of the Kira's success in Manga UK though. Manga UK, Manga Video was the reason they funded, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just fronted the whole majority of that money, that majority of that $3 million, because to them that like, oh, we give you $3 million and we make bajillions on like rentals. Hell yeah. But yeah, Akira, the movie's a very fascinating production. We'll talk about that one day. The manga is obviously a much more expanded thing. I really like the coloured manga. I don't know if they ever finished colouring the whole thing, but the American colorized version of Akira is really cool to look at. Domu is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Tomo's done a lot of stuff. I don't think it'd be that simple to short it down to one thing. I mean, Short Piece is only one of his. I don't think he only made the one short in Short Piece. Short Piece is a collection of anthology stuff. He is one artist of many. I don't believe it's his production. I'm pretty sure it was a Sunrise thing. Yeah, we're Saltergust. We're going full succubus tonight because it's Halloween. Domo's cool, yeah. Username nice. Happy Halloween, everyone. That's why we're dressed like this tonight. I mean, I would dress like this anyway, but this is just my Halloween attire for today. Hee 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 hee. Do do do. Do do do. Okay, where were we at? What's everyone else doing on Halloween tonight? Because I'm streaming and then I have some stuff to do afterwards. But anyone else got some crazy plans? Probably not likely because of the situation we're all in. But I don't know. It's always fun to do something on Halloween, even if it's just for the sake of like watching something silly. Poppy War books. I'm not sure I'm familiar with those. What are they? Yeah, I guess I could Google it. Like novels, are they? Novel. Oh, like grimdark. Well, Wikipedia says it's grimdark fantasy. I don't know if that's true or not. It's plot, but it's set in China during the Second Sino-Japanese War. Interesting. That's a strange combo. Yeah, drawing creepy stuff is pretty good. I mean, if I wasn't streaming tonight, maybe I would have got some friends together and done like a drawing session. Draw like horror characters, because I think that there's a lot of interesting horror characters you could draw. That could be quite fun. You know, you could do some variations on like Jason and Freddy. Reminds me of that short by Worthy Kids, where they all go out like on I guess like a cross country journey, and they go into like a like a little market, like a little 7-Eleven to get stuff. That was really fun seeing them all together. But there's a lot of like horror characters you could probably play with in like a nice like drawing session like that. You know, like a draw pile you could see. I could see that being quite fun because there's so many you could choose, and you could be very playful with it. Maybe that would be an idea for another day. Corona does get in everyone's way a little bit. Sam, we're wearing Halloween costumes, aren't you? In terms of, I don't know if I'd say well, I guess that's up to the interpretation. A lot of people like Magnetic Rose. I think Stink Bomb's really good too. And I do really appreciate what Atoma was doing in Cannon Fodder. It's just not really to my taste. It's not my aesthetic per se. But I could see some people being really into Cannon Fodder for like just the technical achievement of it. And it's kind of like an environmental storytelling piece. So if you're really into that kind of thing. So it's not a fantasy setting? Yeah, it says something about Sino-Japanese War, but it has nothing to do with fantasy at all? Oh, okay, between fantasy nations. Okay, I see. Little Deborah. Aren't we all a little bit? Aren't we all? I haven't actually seen the Hellboy 2019. I have seen Del Toro's ones. I don't know if I finished. I definitely was watching the second movie. I can't remember if I think I might have came in halfway through though, because I don't remember the whole thing. But I remember seeing the ending at least. But I've also read the comics it's based around. It's kind of its own thing. How do you say that? Satine. I mean, Stink Bomb is a gag. It's like a gag bit, but I think
the thing with Stink Bomb that works is like it's the intensity, the uprise of the intensity, the music that it plays off, and sort of how the set it starts pretty like average and then slowly arises into these settings where kind of like a fish out of water thing because it cuts. So you kind of you're as confused as the protagonist, and then he falls into doing what he has to do, and then yeah, things just escalate continuously. But he's none the wiser, and I think it has a really good like snappy end quip. Like I think that's really the true gag of it. But the rest of it's more just the fun of like it's cathartic. I think it's really more so what I see. I don't think it's really a funny thing. Yeah, Memories is 4C. Well, technically 4C. Memories is a 4C production, but the Stink Bomb section was produced at Madhouse. In terms of like it was directed by a Madhouse animator, and it was animated in Madhouse. But the production, producers, and all that stuff was 4C for sure. Yeah, I think Del Toro had some interesting stuff in the Hellboy films for sure. Too bad they never got to do the third one. I'm gonna have to see the Berserk movies for 4C month. I've seen bits and pieces of the movies, but I'm more familiar with the manga and the show, so I guess it'll be an interesting contrast to see how it evolved from what I know of like the company beforehand. Because I'm pretty sure it's the first time they use like human CG figures in any of their films. Because 4C and CGI have always been like interconnected. They have a whole department, so it's always been part of the pipeline. But they usually use it for background stuff, and sometimes a little bit later on you see it in robotics and mechanics. But when you bring it into it's a completely different world trying to animate humans using CGI, especially in the foreground instead of like the background. So that becomes its own challenge, and I don't believe that's something that had happened at the studio before that point. But I'm gonna have to, keep going and see if that's true or not. I feel like it's the first like real broad distinction they made in that fight. Stink Bomb was not Kawajiri. Kawajiri produced it though, because Kawajiri was approached to do Stink Bomb, but he rejected it because it's not really his style, and he gave it to Darker Than Black at the time. I don't think at the time he'd made Darker Than Black, but he gave it to Darker Than Black's director, who then took on the project. But he'd never actually directed a film production before, and he'd done a couple episodes of TV, and he was a key animator. So he was a little bit new to the world, so this was kind of him baptized in fire. But so technically was Morimoto to some degree. He was still also a bit new to the directing world at that time. I mean, 97 Berserk. I mean, I've never seen 2016 Berserk because I'm not that interested. I think the Magnola, the Hellboy comic, I think has an ending, doesn't it? It's long, but I'm pretty sure there's actually like a concrete stop point, if I remember right. Hmm. Do they do Wolf's Rain as well? They might have. They've done a couple of things. They're not exact. They're pretty. They've been around quite a bit. The director. Though the thing with Darkman and Black, if I understand right, is it's like their original idea too. Where like Wolf's Rain was already written by someone else. I think it's the person who usually worked with Watanabe. Notomoto? No, I forget her name. Um, Kevbot, we're in costume. It's Halloween. Yeah. Is it Keiko Nobumoto? Yeah, it was her idea. I mean, the soundtracks in Berserk are always good. They have a lot of great composers who work with them, so that's a given. I forget who because they brought in the Ava composer for one of them. It might be the movies. I think the movies has the Ava composer at times. Who does? I'm pretty sure Blood and Guts is the Ava composer, right? Because Blood and Guts is a fucking jam. Also, if I remember right, Hirasawa did some soundtracks. He did like some songs for the PS2 game, the Japanese only PS2 game, which is very funny. I'm pretty sure Blood and Guts is Shiro. Yeah, Blood and Guts is a fucking jam. But it sounds like him because you can't escape that sort of. There's a very particular cadence to his work. But yeah, I'll probably have to write a lot about it. I don't know. I'm curious if anyone, because I've only read one producer's note on it so far. I'm wondering if there's. I don't know who directed the movies for Berserk, but I probably need to keep an eye out for if they did any interviews. Because I'm kind of curious about where their intent is. Because from what I understand, they were approached by the studio, or I guess by the owners of Berserk, to do the movies. I don't think 4C approached them because the main producer, like, and half creator of the studio, had said that they had never read Berserk until they were approached to do the production. So there is that. The cat's meowing again. Coming in? There you go. We got a guest. You coming up? There we go. Wait, is she on camera? Yeah, she's on camera. Hey, kitty cat. Come up. Good cat. Why are my wings out? Barely even see them. For shame. Wish they could flap more. Good cat. Good cat. She's quiet now. Alright, where are we at? Yeah, the cat is back. So Hellboy... I don't know if that's just the peak of American comics, but it's nice that it has an actual ending. I think that I appreciate that they actually, finished the story, which makes it probably easier to read overall now. Opposed to going forever. Going on forever, even. Cats of us. Keep the cat out of it. They're like my familiar, alright? Magical familiar. My cat's already dressed up, can't you tell? Forces is pretty good, yeah. Please tell me you'll be at least hanging with friend. The customer. You're right, Hazel. The Xiao Hei costume is very nice. She's a big fan. I went to a party yesterday, but I will after stream I'll be in call with some people for sure. Still wearing the outfit, of course. Cat will also be there. My hot. To be fair, it's been a very long time since I've seen Love Hina, so I don't know how hot my takes would be. Besides, I don't really care for it much. Free Extremes and Free Extremes 2 are great foreign horror anthologies. I should probably have a look at them. I do like my horror anthologies, as you can tell by my outfit. How you doing, Daniel? Free Extremes. Let's have a look. Wait, have I seen... I'm trying to think of this. Did, Oh, I've actually seen one of these shorts, Free Extremes. I've only... I don't know if I've seen all of them, but... Is there one where they eat children or something? To keep their flesh young or something? There's one by Takeshi Miike. I've seen the Miike short. I will have to... Did we watch... I feel like I might have watched this with a friend. Did I watch all the shorts? Oh yeah, I watched Dumplings. What was cut? A successful director faced a night of... Oh yeah, I've seen all three of these. I have actually seen this movie. I didn't even recognize the name. But yeah, I've seen Free Extremes. I just didn't remember. Yeah, I've definitely seen Box because my friend and me were watching all of Miike's stuff, so I got Box out, and then we were like, well, we've watched Box now, we might as well watch the other two, so we did, and I thought that the other two were actually better than, well, yeah, I would say Dumplings was probably the best of the three. Yeah, my madman opinion, not caring about things much, wilder. Uzumaki movie? There's already a live action movie, isn't there? From like the 2000s? I don't know, there's going to be an ONA soon. I like just for the costume. Hell yeah, brother. A fine hentai? Which hentai? I mean, Love Hina isn't hentai, is it? ONA, so that's an online... How would you call it? It's like, An ONA is like an OVA, but for like online services. So like if you make something for Crunchyroll, then it's an ONA instead of an OVA. Like an OVA would be made for DVD or like for physical release. But if you do that online for a streaming service, it becomes an ONA. Oh, yeah. Original net animation, there you go. If you're talking about the anime, then it's an ONA. I don't know if they're making like a movie. I'm not really sure what you mean, like a live action one. They've already made it. There's already an Uzumaki like live action movie that already exists. But maybe they're making another. Because there's 4 episodes of the Uzumaki one they're making for Crunchyroll with Adult Swim has 4 episodes. Well, it's not a movie if it's 4 episodes. Like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about the one done for Crunchyroll? The animated one with Colin Stetson? Because that's an ONA, and that, it has episodes. At least that's what they've said. In the past, they said it was like 4 episodes long. The upcoming one is an ONA. Yeah, an original net animation. The movie, which there was, came out in the year 2000. I'm trying to see what they've said in the past. I'm pretty sure they made this, like, they already had like a stream about this at some point. Yeah, so Polygon, so this is from a couple months ago. Adult Swim's Uzumaki miniseries will now premiere in October 2022, which was the last update they gave. The miniseries, as in being 4 episodes long, as far as I was last told, but I don't know how long each episode will be. They could be 45 minutes, they could be 30 minutes. They don't really have to hold to any like degree. But it says here, so in the new update, director Hiroshi Nagahama offers an explanation saying that the 4-episode miniseries is larger than usual production. There you go, 4 episodes, ONA, coming out next year. Well, it is not a movie, as said by the director right there. Dreamcast Online is probably long dead, isn't it? So it's basically bloating? No, that's not how it works. He says it's a larger production. He's probably talking about the way they're animating it. It's probably taking a long time because it's a very intricately designed show, for one thing. You don't know how large the team is, for another thing. And they have the money of like Warner Brothers and other things. So they probably have more time than the other things, and they probably expect to finish the series first before putting it out there. But the director is probably, knowing what the director's like, seeing his prior works, he has a condition about not trying the same thing twice. So I have a feeling that he's trying to do something very expressive with it. There's a possibility, I mean, some people talked about it, but there might be some rotoscope in the first trailer, that they might be going for that kind of like dark, Scanner Darkly kind of thing in some instances. It's hard for me to tell. There might be like little instances of it, but it's a very articulate looking machine at least, and likely there's a lot to do. And of course COVID also hit the production, from what I understand. I think I remember hearing that there was like some sort of issues with COVID, and probably a lot of the people animating were like old school. Usually the newer school animators aren't too bothered by COVID because they work digitally, so they work at home just fine, but some of the older ones struggle, I think, a bit more. I mean, the director's very prolific, very talented. The music by Stetson's probably going to be really good. I feel like they'll do their own thing, and it will be probably pretty well respected, and they probably want to make the best thing they can, which is why they're not rushing it. And if they were pushing it back that far, it's probably because they're like, all right, to do it the way we want to do it, and with the resources we have and the way we can do it, means that we should take an extra year on this. So we don't release something that's shoddy. Because, you know, in the past, when we've seen Junji Ito adaptations, like the anthology that came out not so long ago, they got trashed pretty badly for not living up to the standard of his work. So I feel like they're probably being extra diligent to make something that people, and the fans especially, would like. So I think that's a respectable position to do, because I think that the weekly schedule of an anime is already ridiculous as it is. So I appreciate that they're trying to do something that's a little bit more, you know, realistic, maybe. Yeah, they said that one of the reasons is the production was interrupted by the COVID pandemic. So I'm not sure exactly how it was interrupted, but we're talking about cross-country as well, considering that it's... I'm not really sure how much America and Warner and Crunchyroll and Adult Swim have on the production, or what they've got to do, or what parts they are. It may be because it's getting dubbed first as well. I assume the dub might be priority, and that might be coming along with, like, you know, the musical score and getting that ready for It depends how they're doing that. Like, is it getting scored secondary? So there's possibility that a lot of on both sides may be interrupted. So yeah, there you go, Uzumaki for you. The Gaio movie? I don't know what the Gaio movie is. I'm not familiar with that one. What's it called? Like, what's its full name? Is it just called Gaio? Gyu? Gyu Tokyo Fish Attack? Is that the one? I have not seen it. Is there anything to do with the main dude? I don't know. Oh, okay. It's only like an hour long. Who made that? I mean, I can see some CGI sharks in it that look a little bit weird. It's not. It doesn't seem to be well liked. Maybe it was maybe a Ufotable though. Ufotable are pretty well liked at the studio. So it's an adaptation of Junji Ito. So it is an Ito thing, alright. Yeah, it doesn't seem particularly well liked, at least, but Ito stuff is really hard to transfer, to be fair, so it's a difficulty from jumping between genres. I've never seen the I've never read the manga, so I don't really know. I mean, did you throw up because it was gross, or did you throw up because it was bad? I don't really understand. That's the question of tonight. Hit and miss. I don't know, is it anthology? I'm not even sure where this is going. Human fart-powered monster fish automate. Okay, interesting. That's something else. Gaio is completely CGI. I'm guessing is Gaio the fish? Just because I'm seeing clips of it and it's, you know, it's 2D. I mean, there's like a CGI fish or something. I wouldn't put it past it for doing it that way. Though, maybe they needed a little bit more polish on the fish. The fish looks very like hyper real in comparison to the people, which is a strange contrast. Seeing it has like legs at one point. I don't know if it's going to be that. If it's going to be that stiff, you might as well just draw it. Though I suppose the legs could have been CGI, but maybe you could just draw the top of the fish. I do not know, but it seems people do not like it. I don't know if anyone likes. Is there like a single adaptation from Ito that people like? Flo, it's Halloween. Aren't you dressing up? I'm a succubus. Yeah, got little wings. Thank you, Mohammed. I hope you have a nice night, a nice Halloween. Oh, hi, Holly. Succubus strikes again, yeah. Yeah, that was my plan all along, was to bring it back. You can't escape it now, I'm sorry. I've put you through too much. It's only for Halloween. Tomy has a lot of live action adaptations, I think. I've not seen any of them. Official uniform forever. I guess I'm stuck with it now. Okay. Guess this is my life now. I have to wear this for the rest of my life. This and the brace. I have to get a brace with both hands so I match. I don't have the tail on tonight, too, unfortunately. There's a tail that comes with it. But I still have the little bottoms. Yeah, they're pretty good. And this bit. Yeah. And the wings. That's what we're doing. It's a good look. I think it works. I don't know, Flo. You have to work out on your own. Yeah, you got to be. I mean, to be fair, I'm not wearing the fishnets tonight because the fishnet. All right, you can wear fishnets for something like this, but the issue with wearing fishnets is that this is really awkward. Like that was, it really, because there's so many little bits and pieces to the costume, they really start meshing and getting stuck. Like the fishnets got stuck on the button on this dress or like skirt several times, and then the tail got stuck. I had to do a lot of untangling. And yeah, I was having a lot of technical problems with all the different bits and pieces, especially putting it on and taking it off. So I decided not to bother with that tonight. So no fishnets for you, I'm afraid. But you wouldn't be able to see them anyway from the angle. Definitely rocking the outfit. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm born to wear this sort of stuff, I guess. But yeah, we've completely lost track, really. If we're talking about Junji Ito, I mean, if it's Halloween, right, we're talking about Junji Ito. Oh, there. You know, Holly, I think I remember you saying it was body horror, which was very funny, admittedly. But I guess it's 10 out of 10 body horror, so I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. Blessed. Prostitutes in New Vegas had the outfit but without the wings. Well, the wings really tie it all together. If you don't have the wings, it's not funny. Yeah, I was thinking about Junji Ito stories because I'm not too familiar with a lot of. I've seen the whole story with the whole Made for Me, a couple of his shorts, and I've read the whole of Uzumaki. I feel like Uzumaki seems to be the one that gets brought up a lot. I don't know if there's any other that people really love in terms of Ito. There probably is because he's been doing this for forever. Okay, it was body. Yeah, to be fair, it probably is body horror. Maybe I don't know. I was considering doing some shaving for it, but I don't know. I couldn't be bothered. I don't know if it would really add much to it. I just couldn't. Well, I was probably just too lazy to do it. I didn't want to get cuts all over myself, to be honest. But I thought that could have been increased the look. But I don't know. I think it works like this too. Tomy, Hellstar Rumina. Is Hellstar Rumina him? Oh, it is. I've seen that cover before. Nice cover. It's a Lovecraftian-like living planet cosmic horror. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's some pretty, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's easy to forget that the man is a real talent when it comes to drawing visually. Because, like, you know, his stuff always looks good, but, like, when you get down to, like, just some of the compositions and such, it's very impressive. Just what he manages to pull off. That Ito. It's a good egg. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Do I understand the end of Ava? I mean, I don't think there's really... I think the issue with trying to say, like, do I understand X piece of media is that usually they come from a perspective of, like, there is no one true answer. Like, I understand the plot of Ava, if that's what you mean. Like, I understand what's supposed to happen and what does happen. But there's obviously a lot of factors in how you interpret that stuff. And I haven't watched Eva in a very long time. Though when I'm making the Arno project, which is probably going to be the next big video after we get rid of 4C month. I might go straight into it. It depends how I'm feeling about Future Boy Conan. I could see me doing like a small video on Future Boy Conan because they're releasing it. But it would really depend if it gets a proper English release I could be bothered to grab, among other stuff. But I've seen a bit of it in the past, so like it could be a fun one, but maybe I'll do that in between. Like I imagine the Arno video will go long, so I might throw the Future Boy Conan video out in between working on it. But yeah, I'll think about it more. I don't know. I'm not really interested in the analysis of End of Ava because I feel like it's done to death. I'm more interested in the story behind the production, and then we might talk about things I find interesting about it all. Yeah, I mean it's probably a lot harder to move such intricate stuff that Ito does into the room of like animation because you have to then have all these different new elements together that like make it all a whole, and they have to equal the original pieces. So then the options become like, well, do you simplify the drawings quite a lot and remove a lot of the intricacies, or do you try and keep the intricacies but then do you not move a lot? Like finding a middle ground between those two could be very expensive. And then there's also the question of having the right sound effects and sound design, which is half the battle in horror. Retro anime, what are you talking about? It's Halloween. You haven't missed anything. It's in the name of the stream. It's a Halloween stream. Persona, it's a succubus outfit. Why do I have to keep explaining people this? I thought it was pretty obvious. I mean, can you finish anything perfectly? I don't think that really works that way. I mean, I think the end of Ava is the ending, though. It seems that way to me. The other movies are pretty separate, at least in my mind. How's it going, Derby Daily? You doing good in this fine Halloween? Yeah, well, I mean, the CGI Berserk is pretty hated, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why we're bringing it up. It's kind of boring. I never watched it, but I don't really plan to. So, I feel like it's a bit of a dead horse, isn't it? I feel like it's the thing with like the anime community, right? They hold on to these dead horses that like, why do you care, guys? Why do you care? Like, Berserk has had so many adaptations. I don't see why that one is so interesting to you. Outside of like, yeah, I guess it failed. Well, you know, what are you gonna do? Yeah, the trailer for Uzumaki does look very good. But like I said, I'm not even necessarily interested in an adaptation of Uzumaki that much because I've read it already. So I'm not like gushing for the experience to see it in animation. I feel I'm more interested about this that the certain director's take on it and also the music. Those things to me, I feel are going to be the most unique stuff about it. I feel like they could completely remove the original story. I don't give a shit about them like following the original story at all. They could probably start with the original story, but I feel like with only 4 episodes, they should really be taking their own path because, Uzumaki is a really long piece of book, and it goes in a lot of different directions. Some of it's quite one and done. So I feel like the show would have to do its own kind of interpretation of that. Just because, like, the book as well kind of has this, like, yeah, shit's getting fucked. This is pretty fucking weird. And then people are just like, well, I guess we continue to live. as we always do. It's just like, dude, shit's fucked, man. Why are you acting like it isn't? Why are you guys just still living normally? I guess that's all you can do. The only thing you can do is continue. I've not actually seen Cyber City Audio, however you say it. I don't know how to... Is that vampires? I have no idea. Just the random Indian. I think that's a very... I don't know. I think that's a very retconny way to look at something, to say that it makes the ending of one series meaningless. I don't think that's really how media works. Like, it seems to me that like 3.1 is its own timeline, right? Even if it's going through dimensions, it's just doing... It's unrelated at that point. Like, I don't know. I don't think it needs to be. Which Wind Rises quote are we talking about? There's a lot of Wind Rises quotes. Best strip, yes. Most of my state are celebrating Halloween. Yeah, I mean, Halloween, go for it, right? That's why I'm dressed up. Gunbuster's cool, yeah. Yeah, well, sort of, guys. What quote are you actually talking about from Wind Rises? So the one about creativity, because that one is fucking bullshit. Oh, did they say we must try and survive? I don't. Is that from Wind Rises? Or, I mean, I think that's just sort of like a... Is that a quote beyond Wind Rises? Because I think it's actually a quote from... It's a quote from Nausicaa, isn't it? The ending of Nausicaa says, like, I think the ending of Nausicaa says, like, the only thing we can do is to continue, or only thing we could do is to survive. It's like the ending paragraph of Nausicaa. Yeah, I think it's a callback to it, if I remember right. Why is everyone talking about Ava anyway? What's that got to do with anything? It's horror. It's Halloween, baby. Let's talk about horror shit. What was the last... I remember watching like one of the old Draculas. I watched one of the Hammer Horror Draculas for What's that message? Sorry, I'm getting messages. Yeah, I remember watching the Hammer Horror Draculas a while ago. Like one of the first ones, because for the I guess that was last year now, because it was for the Vampire Hunter D one. So it was pretty fun for like how it sort of established certain things. Sometimes a little ham-fistedly, but yeah, like there's so many different laws to a vampire if we're going into the vampire stuff. Is not 42? You hate the Nausicaa ending with a glowing passion. Are you talking about which version of Nausicaa? What, the movie version or the manga version? Because they're very different. Oh yeah, there's a little picture there. Oh. The manga. How could you hate the manga ending? What is with you? I don't see how anyone could hate that ending with a glowing passion. It's a very strange thing to take from it. Then you did not understand the story at all. Jesus Christ. If that's what you got out of that story, that is not the answer. It is not the idea that humanity is a blight on the face of the earth. Oh my God. Listen, if you get with Miyazaki is indifferent to humanity's continued existence, and he certainly said that, but I don't believe he really thinks that humanity needs to die. He said they need to continue living, but they can... The whole point... Alright. let's take on the context of what I made a whole fucking video about this, but like, if we really want to take on the ending of Nausicaa, right? The ideas here presented is that they were presented with a utopian solution for the situation from the grave, which you should not trust because like embodied strange spirits are probably not something that you should trust. But what they were effectively arguing is like, hey, use the technology of man's past to try and fix man's future, which is what would you call it? A neoliberal myth that like you can use science to fix the future, like the idea that you can use progressive positions of like, if we just keep progressing, suddenly the solution will appear right in front of our minds. We'll just get cold fusion and everything will be fine. Like this is it's a very naive thought of how you could like fix the future by using. It's a very Elon Musk take on the world, right? That's sort of like, I can use science to fix everything. Like, there's certainly things you can use science for, but that's just not how it is. So the idea of rejecting that from Nausicaa's perspective was more of a sort of, you could say it's certainly dour for them to do that, but I think it really reflects her character that, like, at one point she was treated as Messiah, but ultimately her message was more of a realistic, like, we have to just continue on because, realistically, there is no way for us to survive. And that could be a reflection of Miyazaki finds about humanity, that he kind of sees that, yeah, there's actually no way to fix the damage we've done, but all we can keep doing is to live the best we can in the current moment. Which may be his realistic thoughts of it. It's like, yeah, there's no way to actually stop climate change. There's no magical scientific solution. Using the stuff that put us in the situation in the first place is not a way to fix it. So we can only do the best of what we've got. I feel that is kind of the message that Miyazaki's getting. The idea that Miyazaki is like promoting eco-fascism is ridiculous. Because that's absolutely not what Nausicaa says. Why would he make 1,000 pages just to be like, yeah, fucking humanity sucks, am I right? Like, that's absolutely, like, that's not the kind of man he is. I've never seen Inland Empire, but it seems pretty cool. 144p, that's nice. Technology cannot fix all our problems. I think this is really the key here. Like, of course, they've already got technology, but like, there's a very specific type. All right, the stuff that's in that tomb is the stuff that like the tomb is full of the stuff that made the God Warriors and the Olm. But at the same time, this is the thing that you're not even mentioning here. The Olm, which are treated with such reverence and beauty in the story, are made of the same materials that the God Warrior is, which is supposed to show that, yeah, the technology can be the destruction of humanity, and the God Warriors aren't even necessarily bad because there's more nuance to it in the manga, right? But like at least in the movie, you can see that the God Warriors are like the destruction of power of humanity, like the hubris of humanity. But the Olm are treated as like the all-knowing sort of like they're destroying themselves to try and save the planet. They're like these sort of like nature abuse, but then the thing pulls the carpet out under you and goes, no, the Olm are not nature. They are made by the humans to show that there is a duality in what humans can create. But that technology cannot fix the future because it already doomed the future. That is what they're saying. Like the people that were left in that world, left on spaceships. That was the implication, right? Yeah, I've seen Secret Kingdom's pretty cool. Also, tech and nature are also intertwined. Where's the line? Yeah, there's also something that Miyazaki mentions about, like, you know, if you planted a bunch of trees in like a very particular way, at some point they get beyond you, which is something else that he thought about Nausicaa in the terms of like you can create something but you can't control it. I think was the idea. Because yeah, like you could you know in a factory, like in a laboratory, make a bunch of like plants or whatever, but if you put them out in the wilderness, eventually they'll grow and find their own way. Same with like trees, right? The roots of a tree will like spread across the world in its own way. You can't really control those things. You can only put down the seeds of something and then it becomes its own thing, which I think is what the Olm is supposed to be in like as an idea. Yeah, Gunbuster is good. Don't know why we're talking about Gunbuster, but yeah. staying here forever would be nice if we could do that, right? I mean, I don't know, like going to another planet to ruin it seems like a terrible like pattern to get yourself into. Because if you haven't learnt the mistakes from the first one, you're just going to repeat it. I don't think we're really supposed to leave the planet. I think that's definitely a very difficult thing to do. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't really understand your rant at all, because I don't know, anyone that wants to leave into space is only going to end up being a colonizer, and you know, space radiation is going to kill you, and then also the lack of calcium in your bones is going to fuck you up. And like, where are you going to go? You're going to start colonizing Mars right about now? How long is it going to take you to make that a livable planet? You might as well go live in fucking Antarctica. What's the difference? Is that really surviving? Because it kind of reminds me of something Tomino once said about, like, because people are asking Tomino recently in interviews about like the whole Amazon stuff with like going into space, and he said that, like, yeah, when it's like the interest of the rich and colonizing and all that, like when that's the interest of going into space, it's probably not going to end very well. Have you not seen Gundam? Yeah, I mean, space is like minus 200, like it's absolute zero in space. It's a very harsh environment, to say the least. I wouldn't say it's a very livable place to be. I mean, I think space is cool as like an idea, but I feel like the I don't know, this idea of like, what do they used to call it, like the jetpackers of the world. They just, to be honest, at this point they just remind me of fucking Movie Bob, and he's fucking embarrassing. You know, there's people who are just like, you know, we destined to go into space to do things, and like, if it wasn't for these people, I'd have my liberal utopia with jetpacks and space colonies. It's like, dude, what the fuck? You know what? Like, colonies are not good. Um, I'm very confused by this. If you could build a God Warrior, it's not a huge leap to be able to live in space as an environment. Well, that's not true at all, because the technologies to do either of those things are completely different. And like, it's not even to say that like the people in Nausicaa didn't go to run into space, but you know who gets to go to space? The richest people. The average commoner does not get to go to space. That's the whole thing. Like, the people left on Nausicaa's planet, right, are not exactly in the best condition. They're living like monarchies. A lot of them are very poor. So like, the idea of going to space is a rich man's game. It's to be one thing, but also like a God Warrior is basically an algorithm for like a weapon of mass destruction, and those things already exist, but like, it's just a different kind of weapon of mass destruction. So like, yeah, building weapons is not the same as like colonizing planets and you know, doing what you'd need to, like, I don't know, what would be the situation? What would you call it? Like terraforming? Terraforming is like a completely different thing. I mean, if you can terraform a planet, you should probably terraform Earth, right? Make the parts of Earth that are like uninhabitable more habitable for people. That's certainly what I'd end up doing. It'd be a lot easier than sending that stuff into space. But anyway, I don't have much interest of talking about it beyond that. But like, I think that the idea that like it's about let humanity die is not necessarily true at all. It'd be a very weird way to end 1,000 pages. The God Warriors were created as weapons. Do you understand that, right? That the God Warriors were created by humans as weapons to do, and they blew up the planet. They are people, yes, but they are people that were designed to be weapons and to be controlled. That was like the entire thing that they were used in the story for, even so. Yeah, I mean, the Third Impact could be definitely inspired by Miyazaki stuff anyway. Billy Bob, Billy Earth, the best, yeah, nice. Earth the Best, I mean, Earth the Best can make quite the song. I mean, dude, you're the one that started this. Like, don't give me that let's stop, man. I think you need to stop. But yeah, outside terrible takes on Nausicaa. What were we just talking about? Camilla, thank you very much. Yeah, this is Let's Be Fanta Baby? I don't know what that is. Okay. Yeah, for Camilla, we are doing the succubus outfit tonight. I haven't got my tail, unfortunately, but we have a nice bit there, got little horns on them. It is Halloween. We are celebrating Halloween. We would talk about horror stuff, some stuff that wasn't horror, but you know, we were going through some stuff. And I think I've talked about most of it now. I'm wondering if anyone... We talked about so many different ones. I think we were talking about Ito's favourite manga for a bit, and then I don't know where we got from there, but... I'm trying to figure, does anyone have any recommendations for stuff, horror-related media, that isn't Ito? Maybe like in the manga sphere. Or maybe we should go... we go back to films? I think films are fun. I probably might go for... Well... It's 9 o'clock now. Probably I need to go make some dinner soon, so we'll go for maybe another 20 minutes. But yeah, I'm trying to think of something that would be even video games. We didn't talk too much about video games, but like I think I know I'm pretty well versed in those at least. Oh, we could talk about horror anime. The wings are very good. Unfortunately, you can't see them very well in the outfit. You know, Gabe, last time the Michael Bay Evangelion thing, we've got pretty much all the good ideas out of it. I don't know if I've got any other ones, but I guess Shia LaBeouf 20 years ago would have probably been a good Shinji, right? I mean, I made a video about Redline. I think that's all fine. If we're going to talk about Ghost Hunt. I haven't seen Ghost Hunt. What's that one about? I went on a ghost tour before, where you walk around a city and they tell you all the ghost stuff about the city. It was pretty goofy, to be honest. It was not very convincing, if I'm honest, but it was something to do. Is this like the 1994 one by J.C. Staff? Or are we talking the novel for Ghost Hunt? The manga, okay. In the manga sphere, Chi no Wadachi is very scary. Oh, okay. Well, so many good recommendations tonight. Maybe I should look into that. Blood on the Tracks. That's a spooky face. I'm seeing like a little spooky... That's a nicely drawn face, to be honest. Looks pretty spooky. Nothing spookier than a well-drawn face. That's what they tell me. King of Thorn. I don't know the manga of King of Thorn. I know that the co-director of Nausicaa actually did the movie, if I remember right. But I haven't seen that either. What Made Tente Conan is the closest thing to come to my mind is mainstream horror anime. Made Tente Conan. What, Detective Conan? That's horror? Is it? It looks like an adventure. Scooby-Doo, Zombie Island. Ah, okay, that's pretty classic. What about Rogan Sea as horror though, Derby? I've seen it before. It's pretty humorous, isn't it? It's fun. I like Rogan Sea. I just didn't think it was really horrific. You know what? Actually, I would have loved to see Tobey Maguire as Shinji. Toby face would be so fucking good. Oh god, could you imagine fucking Tobey Maguire in like the position of Shinji when something shit happens? He's just like, I forget the part where that's my problem. Want forgiveness? Get religion. That would be a very good line for Ava. It's like the angel screaming and he's like, want forgiveness? Get religion. I mean, they'd be apostles. If we were going on the original translation, it'd be apostles, not angels, which sounds cooler. I think it was Ghost Hunt before. I don't know much about Ghost Hound. Is that the... That's the, director, isn't that the... What's his name? The one who did, Elaine, isn't it? Ghost Hound? It's production IG, and it's Nakamura, is it? Yeah, Nakamura. Ryutaro Nakamura, rest in peace. That's Ghost Hound. I haven't seen that one. I don't know if that's a horror though. Oh, okay, it's the same author as Flowers of Evil. Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting. I'm sure it's a good-looking mess. I mean, the people working on it are very talented. But, like, when it comes to adaptations, it's always a bit of a struggle, isn't it? Yeah, I know people really like Ghost Hound. I've been meaning to try it. Oh, who died? Nakamura, but this was a long time ago. He was the director of Serial Experiments Lain, among others. Kino's Journey, I believe. This, he passed a while ago. I think it was like 2013, maybe? And there's still one of the works that isn't quite complete, which is supposedly coming out soon. So his name... so his name is Ryotaro Nakamura, I think it's... Or Ryotaro Nakamura. Responsible for Kino's Journey. Wreck, not the Spanish film. Kino's Journey, Sakura Wars, Colorful, Serial Experiments Lain, Legend of Cristelia. I think that's a Final Fantasy movie, isn't it? Was it not? Am I thinking of something else? Maybe I think of something else. Yeah, he's had a pretty prolific career. Ghost Hound being one of the last things he directed. Despera suspended. Yeah, that was posthumous of him. Posthumous? How do you say that word? Yeah, he passed away in 2013. Pancreatic cancer. God, that's a fucking killer. That's really sad. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's certainly elements of Osamu's work that is like horror based. I think Domu would maybe be considered a bit more towards that than some of his other stuff. You know, there was once upon a time a period where David Lynch almost directed a adaptation of Domu, if I remember right. Yeah, the 2000s one. I don't know much about it. So yeah, Domu and David Lynch. That's the story. Let's see if I can find it. Like, I'll burn some seconds before we're done. So this is a story that came out earlier this year. The David Lynch almost made a major manga adaptation in the 90s. This was with multiple people, if I remember right. Because recently there was a podcast where someone related to it told the story. So this was after the success of Twin Peaks and World at Heart. That he was going to make an adaptation of Domu, A Child's Dream, which was one of the early mangas of his before Akira. And it almost happened because of George Lucas, apparently. I think it might be Lucas Ranch. I'm looking through the details here. So someone who worked at Lucas is talking about it. Basically, that Japan. The individual went to Japan to work on a project for Lucasfilms, where it would team up with Bandai, a toy company. And this was known as Cyber. And it was about a 7-year-old boy with post-apocalypse who finds an AI that contains the knowledge of the human history Lucasfilm was going to do at a production, and Bandai was going to pay for it. It ended up being a turnaround. Fox Kid picked it up, changing the project drastically. It became Cyber 9 and New Dawn, whatever that is. And then when he was in Japan for Bandai, on behalf of LucasArts project, this individual, Jimaro, happened to be flipping through a copy of Otomo's Kazuhiro's manga Domo, A Child's Dream. The executive remarked that they'd been trying to work with Otomo, but they couldn't get it to happen. They told Nilo Rodis Jimiro, the person in the individual, if he could convince Otomo to hand over the rights for the book. Bandai would pay the full production for the film and the print and advertising. Domo Child tells the story, yeah, so, you know, whatever about the story, you know, psychic shit. It's in like a block, like a thingy block. What do you call it? Like living sort of flat block or whatever. So he inquires to find Otomo Kurosura. Two met Otomo and agreed to do a script, my voice is going. Script treatment for 60 days. He liked it. They moved it forward. They broke down the book into a treatment, brought it back to Otomo who liked it, enough to give it another 60 days for the script to be written. And he turned to his friend, David Lynch. So this individual knows David Lynch. And they explained that he first met Lynch when George Lucas brought him to the art department, which is that story he tells. Lynch always tells that story. He goes, I met George Lucas once and I had a horrible headache. That is a pretty iconic story if you can find it. So he tells the story of I met David Lynch, and somehow it made the impression on David that we stayed in contact. David used to cut his films at the ranch. Occasionally David would show me a rough cut of his movie, and we stayed in contact. So when the opportunity to do Domo somehow miraculously happened, I took it to David because this is David's territory, and it's not wrong. This is not mine. I merely conduct to get things happening. I certainly wouldn't want to be producing that kind of movie my first time out. So I met with David at Dupas, a really old-time diner that he likes, and with really old-time waitresses. And if you like, it's like you step back in the 50s, you know, that's David Lynch's thing. And I told David about the opening scene before I could finish the opening scene. He said, I'm in! So I guess David really liked the idea. This is pretty cool. I wish this would have happened, really. That sounds like a really interesting like part of history that we never quite got. I went back to Japan to talk to Otomo and showed him the script and explained that David Lynch would want to make it, and I'm pretty sure that Otomo likes Lynch, so... and then Bandai agreed to give everything and gave the production 12 months turnaround. They had film shooting, the rights, revert back to, etc., etc. David and I took it to Propaganda Films, and they were the production company that did Wild at Heart for him. Unbeknownst to me, though, David and Propaganda Films' relationship was beginning to come apart. Propaganda was more interested in Sweetheart, my sweetheart being Bandai. Why did Bandai give you this? This being a full production, full marketing, full print, and I'm nobody. They were more interested in getting out that deal from Bandai than in making the film for David and I. That's really when it kind of started to come apart. finally my attorney told me you need to walk away from this. They're offering you money to walk away from this. Jesus Christ, that's bad. Walk away because of this turnaround. They're never going to be able to shoot the movie. You're never going to be able to get it done. The shoot within so many weeks because they'll turn around. The deadline is coming. So yeah, it basically just never happened because of all that bollocks. So yeah, to be honest, at that point, walking away would be the better situation. You don't want to rush a film out like that. It would be a nightmare. And I imagine David has already been burnt on one sci-fi project in the past, so I don't imagine he would have wanted it to go that way. It's a really shame it never happened though, because that would have been so cool to see. That's the kind of adaptation I would have liked to see. What an interesting story. That was story time. All right, and now it is close to time to end the stream, I'm afraid, fellas. I want to go. It's been 3 hours. I want to go and make some dinner. This Halloween I'll be rewatching Hill House. I haven't seen that one. I've seen Doom House from something Awful Forward back in the day. Interesting. Paranoid Agent is pretty interesting. I can understand why people like it so much. There's definitely some really good episodes. Oh, the Erogora anime you're talking about sounds like Midori, Camilla. Yeah, Midori. Midori's yeah, it's something else. I have not seen Tumbad, I'm afraid. Yeah, Domo, like Domu with Lynch would have been so good. I mean, he would have probably made it his own, so like it probably would have like went away from some of the original stuff. But I feel like in a way that would have been satisfying to watch. He's just taken the premise and turning it into his own thing, which I appreciate. Especially if they just kept some of the set pieces too. I think it could have been really cool. Just like the David Lynch of it all. I'm sure he'd add a lot of weird imagery with the psychics. Yeah. Cooper, can I get my David Lynch out? Cooper, I'm making an anime. It's about this boy who has psychic powers. And he is in a flat block. And people die. I'm hoping you can be in the film and play an old, nice man. I know you're not an old man yet, but by the time we get this film off the ground, you may well be. No problem, Camilla. I hope everyone enjoyed. Yeah, that's always the unfortunateness. There's also the story of how well, it's kind of a short one because of how it went, but I'll get this one out. So Atoma had a project in line to do with Mobius. There was a story, I think I mentioned in one of my videos about, so Mobius and the production house of Kurosawa and Otome wanted to make a movie together. They wanted to adapt one of Mobius's comics into reality, because usually Mobius's work is so particular. They've never quite gotten like strong adaptations because they're very intricate. And honestly, Otome would be the perfect person to do it at that time, especially in that late 90s block, which is what I think he really was interested in. But after Kurosawa died, the production kind of fell apart. It sounds because they lost the money. And like the story, like it was based on, it wasn't necessarily one of his biggest, but more like one of the more strange anthology ones, if I remember right. So like it would have probably been a very difficult one to adapt into like a coherent story. And it all just, it didn't really all come together. I think Otomo's name, like, you know, Memories probably didn't make Akira money. And things were probably, like, this by the late 90s, he's working on Steam Boy, so it all just doesn't come together. Which, you know, this is just how it goes. And sometimes it's best that a production that isn't working out doesn't come together, because it will probably come together poorly. Tetsuo is I know Tetsuo Iron Man. I believe there's some track. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, because the directors of that period, because Otome was friends with film directors. He was friends with Burst City's director, and Burst City's director made an unofficial version of one of his mangas into a movie back in the 80s. Tetsuo Iron Man. I wouldn't be surprised if Iron Man creator was a fan of the manga. I would not be surprised. It was pretty big back then. you know, by the end of by the early 90s, it already sold 5 million like copies. So I would not be surprised if the man had read it in his time. It's hard to say though, because I don't know what his... I have a book on him actually somewhere. His name is Shinya Tsukamoto? Tsukamoto. Shinya Tsukamoto? How do you say that? Yeah, I have a book on his like career, so I could probably read through it to see, but that would involve reading. Ah yes, Lynch watches anime reacts. That could be a fun one. Lynch is always so funny when he talks about that sort of stuff. I can imagine Lynch react. All right, this is last bit for everyone. Lynch reactions to anime. So I can imagine him. What I have to assume he'd have to be watching Akira or something, because in the context of this situation. So this guy made this movie in the 80s. It sounds like this script you gave me. Those kits are strange. It's pretty wacky. There's a lot of motorcycles in this. But they look a little different than I like my motorcycles. I like my motorcycles classic. These motorcycles are too new wave for my tastes. I'm certainly not watching this film on my phone. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd have to read my book to see if there is like that point, but like body horror is not exactly uncommon. Like they might have just similar like points of influence. Yeah, I can't think of anything too funny for Lynch to say about Akira. I don't know. Outside of like, why are they eating pie? Or something, you know, I don't know. They went to the diner and they didn't eat a thing. I do not like this movie. That is a big laser disc. I'm more of a vinyl guy myself. All right, that's enough. I think. All right, I think we're good. I need to go make some dinner, everyone. I haven't prepped for it, so thank you everyone for joining the stream tonight. I hope we all have a nice Halloween, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Love you all. Also, please watch the Fantastic Planet video or share it, because you know, sponsors are hounding at me. So yeah. Bye bye.